Chapter 784. The old man looked at Yi Qinghan with a dignified air. His deep eyes were emotionless as he calmly raised his hand to make a move. No need to be so formal. Let's chat while we play. What's your name? Yi Qinghan knew nothing about chess, but the divine bird knew a thing or two about chess. It told him where to go next. After making his move, he replied, I'm Yi Qinghan from the mythical realm. You seem to have more than one type of elemental origin. Do you have a 5-elemental Taoist constitution? The old man didn't test him, but he could see Yi Qinghan's foundation. Yi Qinghan was shocked. This old man was indeed very knowledgeable. He didn't have the slightest fluctuation of divine power, but the old man could tell that he had a 5-elemental Taoist constitution. Senior, you have good eyes. I do have a 5-elemental Taoist constitution, Yi Qinghan replied respectfully. Only those from the Chaos era have succeeded in forging an acquired 5-elemental Taoist constitution. I didn't expect to see someone like that at this time. 12 godhoods might not have been much in the Chaos era, but it's a miracle in this day and age. The old man revealed Yi Qinghan's foundation again. The divine bird couldn't stand the old man's eyes. They seemed to be able to see through everything. No falsehood could hide his wise eyes. Yi Qinghan knew that he couldn't hide anything from the old man, so he stopped trying. Are you interested in joining the artifact sect? You'll be an honorary deacon. Once you cultivate to half-step lord level, you'll be promoted to an honorary elder. You won't have to fight. It's just a title, and you won't have to be worshipped. With this identity, you'll live a carefree life in the Sisui realm, the old man said slowly as he placed another piece. Yi Qinghan's eyes narrowed. He didn't expect the old man to let him join the artifact sect without testing him. It was rare to see such boldness. Senior, I have a sect in the mythical realm. It's not big, but it's full of elites. They're all my brothers and sisters who fought with me in small realms. Yi Qinghan said honestly. Don't worry about it. The artifact sect covers an area of tens of billions of square kilometers. I'll give you a city and a chance to develop. Just remember this favor in the future, the old man said calmly. Yi Qinghan was shocked. This old man in front of him was a little too good. It was as if a pie had fallen from the sky. Yi Qinghan stood up and bowed. Thank you, senior. I will definitely repay your kindness. Tell me, why are you with the Taoba family? The old man gestured with his hand and Yi Qinghan automatically sat down. Yi Qinghan knew that there was no way he could hide it. If this elder wanted to investigate, he could even find out about his children. He replied, Senior, the Taoba clan summoned me for a child. It's one of the 10 great primal chaos constitutions, the ethereal physique. There was finally some emotion in the old man's eyes as he murmured, the 10 battle constitutions, the reversal of yin and yang, the reappearance of the chaotic universe, the rise of the family. No wonder they were tempted. The ethereal spirit body belongs to the great demonic god's bloodline. Since you obtained it, why didn't you kill it? You have the bloodline of the dragon and the source of the shaman race. You should belong to the shaman race, right? The old man frowned as he looked at Yi Qinghan. The people of the two factions were natural enemies. It was a grudge that originated from the source of the universe and could not be resolved. Senior, the ethereal physique is only a child of 4 or 5 years old. She didn't commit any sin and I don't belong to either faction. I only want to protect those I should protect. She knows me and calls me uncle. I have the responsibility to protect her as she grows up. As for what will happen in the future, we'll talk about it later, Yi Qinghan said firmly. Sigh. Perhaps this is the will of the heavens. If this child was discovered in the past, she would have been killed long ago. Now that she's under your protection, it seems that the primal chaos unification is coming soon. The 10 great primal chaos constitutions will all appear in the near future. The old man sighed and looked up at the sky. Yi Qinghan remained silent. It was impossible for her to kill Qin Wenyan unless the situation reached an irreversible stage. After a long game of chess, Yi Qinghan was completely defeated. The divine bird curled its lips. It was the first time in its life that it had lost. Although it was unwilling, it did not dare to be arrogant in front of the old man in front of it. Then, the old man took out a golden medallion with the word, "Glory," engraved on it. It contained the law of the great Tao and looked very dignified. Take it. In the afternoon, I will personally announce that you are an honorary deacon of the Divine Tool sect. All the factions in the Sisui Plain will at least give you some face on the surface. However, no one can control what happens in the dark. This medallion can protect you from being killed by the older generation. If you die in the hands of someone of the same generation or are assassinated, the Divine Tool sect will not say anything. The old man pushed the medallion in front of Yi Qinghan and said indifferently, "Senior, what do you need?" Yi Qinghan held the medallion and asked, "I don't need anything. When you cultivate to the half-step over God level and upgrade your fire origin to the 16th grade, perhaps I will be able to use you," the old man said indifferently. The old man's lifelong dream was to forge an over-God weapon. However, without a 16th or 17th grade fire origin, this dream was purely empty talk. There was no way he could do anything about it. If you need anything, go find Junior Brother Hua and ask him to prepare it for you. The price will be halved. Also, go and see that old thing from the Tuoba family. Try not to offend him if you can. Now that the era is chaotic, it's better to have one more ally than one more enemy. I think it's best for you to move your clan and sect to the Sisui Plain. Although it's chaotic and stronger here, with the protection of the Divine Tool sect, no one will dare to kill their way into my territory. The old man thought for a moment and continued, "If you agree, ask Junior Brother Hua to send a large cloud-piercing ship to the Divine Tool realm and move all your family, friends, and sect here. You only need to record a video. You won't have to waste time making another trip." Yi Qinghan thought for a moment. He knew that if he became an honorary deacon, he would definitely attract the attention of the world. Then, the Divine Tool realm and the endless plains hidden behind him would no longer be safe. He had to bring them here, especially those from the inner sect. They needed to gain experience. This vast plain was the domain of the inner sect. "Thank you, Senior." Yi Qinghan was grateful to the old man from the bottom of his heart. The old man had only met him for the first time, but he had helped him regardless of the cost. No matter what his plans were, at least he had given him a chance to survive. At the mouth of the volcano, the golden crow directly blended in and rolled around in the depths of the volcano, devouring the fire essence. The volcano was restless and flames soared into the sky, alarming the people of the Divine Tool sect. Huajun rushed to the mouth of the volcano and found that the volcano was out of control. However, he did not find the golden crow in the depths. "What's going on?" Huajun looked at the guard guarding the volcano and asked in a low voice. "Elder, a small black bird just ran in. I thought it was an ordinary divine bird, so I didn't stop it. But it actually rushed into the volcano's underground." The guard's expression was ugly. He didn't know what to do. "A small black bird? Is it Yi Qinghan's spirit pet? It can't be the golden crow, right?" Huajun's expression changed and he was shocked. He hurriedly shouted at the guard, "Go and ask the sect master to bring Yi Qinghan here." Chapter 785. The temperature around Divine Artifact Sect was extremely high. Even the shrine couldn't bear it anymore. Flames spewed out from the volcano, threatening to devour the entire sect. Everyone's expression changed. The power of the volcano wasn't something the shrine could withstand. The flames here were at least 15th grade, and there might even be 16th grade flames in the deepest part of the volcano. Once it erupted, the entire Divine Artifact Sect would be annihilated. The old sect master was also alarmed. He brought Yi Qinghan to the volcano in the blink of an eye. Looking at the volcano that was about to erupt, his expression changed drastically. "What's going on? What's in the deepest part of the volcano?" the old man asked. Huajun looked at Yi Qinghan. He wasn't sure if the thing in the deepest part of the volcano was Yi Qinghan's spirit pet. Yi Qinghan frowned. He knew that if the volcano continued to go out of control, it would definitely erupt. Thus, he stepped onto the volcano and started to absorb the uncontrollable fire essence. Everyone was shocked as they watched Yi Qinghan step onto the flames. His divine robe was destroyed, and the flames turned into a divine robe. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Yi Qinghan spun at high speed, absorbing the endless fire essence. His fire godhead was forged even stronger, and the fire essence inside it was filled to the brim. Once it erupted, it could destroy mountains and rivers. In the deepest part of the volcano, the golden crow rolled around like a fiery bird. It let out a furious roar, and the fire essence in the deepest part of the volcano continued to surge. Yi Qinghan couldn't hold on any longer. His divine body was cracking, and his godhead was about to be melted by the fire essence. The old sect master's expression changed completely. He shouted, "Open the inner sect's defensive array and evacuate everyone from the outer sect. Evacuate the people of Divine Fire City." Divine Artifact Sect was in chaos, but it was still under control. However, the panic was uncontrollable. Yi Qinghan roared and turned into a dragon. His 12 godheads started to spin rapidly. The fire godhead converted the fire essence into divine energy and transferred it to the other godheads. The dragon godhead started to absorb the fire essence, alleviating the pressure on the fire godhead. A 10,000-foot-long dragon pressed down on the volcanic crater. Its entire body was golden red, and flame essence flowed around its body. It was a breathtaking sight. The old sect master also flew into the sky, hoping to relieve the pressure on Yi Qinghan. If Yi Qinghan couldn't control the fire essence in the sky, the volcano would definitely erupt. This volcano that had been suppressed for tens of millions of years would erupt with world-destroying power. The enormous Divine Tool sect would instantly turn into nothing. Apart from Divine Tool Palace, everything within tens of millions of miles would be flooded. The 5 elements turned into heavenly dragons that tumbled within the volcano. The element of water constantly suppressed the flame essences, but there were simply too many flame essences. In an instant, they were able to suppress the source of water. "Bring me the materials, the best materials." Yi Qinghan's face was deathly pale. If he couldn't find an outlet for his divine power, his body would explode sooner or later. The old sect master immediately took out the divine weapon materials that he had kept for a long time and tossed them to Yi Qinghan. These were materials used to forge a master divine weapon. Although there wasn't much of it, it could definitely make Berserk a half-step master divine weapon. Unless it was a master divine weapon, no one would be able to resist it. Yi Qinghan mobilized the flame essences in his godhead and combined them with the volcano's fire essence to condense the materials. His divine power poured out to increase the temperature of the flame essences, but the effect wasn't great. At the beginning, it could only soften the materials. Yi Qinghan was multitasking. On one hand, he was absorbing the flame essences within the volcano. On the other hand, he was gathering the excess flame essences. On the other hand, he was using his divine power to ignite the flame essences. Tuoba Quangjuan sucked in a breath of cold air. This monster wasn't human. If he became a half-step master god, he could probably kill a powerhouse of the same level with a single slap. The 5 element dragons roared as they absorbed the flame essences and spat them at a piece of divine metal in front of Yi Qinghan. It was about a few hundred kilograms. Yi Qinghan returned to his original form and took the initiative to refine the divine metal. The material gradually softened. 1 day, 2 days, originally, it would have taken at least tens of thousands of years to refine the material with the volcano's power. Even the flames on the outside couldn't refine it at all. Now, more than half of it had been refined in just a month. Yi Qinghan's divine power was still abundant. The elders and Tuoba Quangjuan couldn't help but gulp. The lower echelons and inner sect disciples of Divine Artifact Sect were all driven away from the volcano. They only knew that something big had happened. After 2 months, the divine weapon material actually liquefied. The old sect master was very excited. However, he couldn't control the liquid divine weapon material at the moment. He could only let Yi Qinghan use it. Yi Qinghan then took out Zhongquang and refined it, creating a new one. More and more materials were being refined and turned back into liquid form. Divine Artifact Sect was constantly providing materials to Yi Qinghan. They had no choice. If they didn't provide the materials now, Yi Qinghan wouldn't be able to release his godly energy. He wouldn't be able to absorb the fire essence and control the volcano. The liquid material was controlled by Yi Qinghan and changed its shape. The internal order was completely according to Yi Qinghan's thoughts. It contained all kinds of elemental origins and laws. Frenzy gradually took shape. However, the flame essences at the bottom of the volcano had already surpassed 15th grade. 16th grade flame essences began to erupt. Yi Qinghan couldn't control it and was shocked. He immediately summoned the golden crow through his soul. "Little golden crow, come up immediately!" Yi Qinghan roared. The little golden crow flew out from the depths of the volcano. It opened its mouth and swallowed all of the flame essence above it. "I want to evolve into an emperor." The little golden crow used soul waves to send a message to Yi Qinghan and charged into the volcano again. "Take it easy. Don't let the flame essences come up again," Yi Qinghan warned. "Don't worry. This time, I'm going to swallow the 16th grade fire spirit in the depths of the volcano." The little golden crow excitedly charged into the depths. In the depths, a 16th grade fire spirit was frantically fleeing as if it had a soul and intelligence. It screamed and roared. The temperature around it was high enough to refine any creature, but the little golden crow chased it until it couldn't breathe. The 16th grade flame essences underground were extremely dense. The flames in the center of the volcano were uncontrollable and were swallowed by the little golden crow. It couldn't reach the surface anymore. Yi Qinghan retreated from the volcano's crater and cooled outside. The origin of water revolved around the berserk relic, radiating a cold light that could steal one's soul. This was a top 15th grade divine weapon, a half-step Lord-level divine weapon. It took Yi Qinghan more than 2 months to forge a half-step Lord-level divine weapon. If it were the old sect leader, it would take decades. He couldn't mobilize the flame essences in the depths of the volcano to refine the material. He could only rely on the flame essences in the periphery to refine it. This was Yi Qinghan's advantage. "What material is this?" "Senior, I'll return it to you in the future." Yi Qinghan held the berserk relic. The more he looked at it, the more he liked it. This time, he had gained a huge advantage. If the little golden crow broke through, it would reach the half-step Lord level. It might be difficult to kill people like Huajun or Tuoba Quangjuan, but it would be easy to kill people like Zi Chongyun. Huajun couldn't possibly be stronger than it. The old sect leader's expression changed slightly. He frowned and said, "As long as you don't let your little golden crow make the volcano erupt, I'll be grateful." Chapter 786. In the depths of the volcano, the little golden crow chased after it for more than half a year, swallowing countless rank 16 fire essences. It swooped down and devoured the fire spirit, while it soared into the sky and turned into a rocket. Whoosh! The sound of something breaking through the void cut across the river. The little golden crow turned into a pair of wings that blotted out the sky. It had successfully mastered rank 16 fire and become a half-step Lord level. It was majestic, hanging in the sky like the sun. The entire divine fire city could feel the terrifying heat within 10 million miles. The ground was almost melted. The sacred beast golden crow. "It's your spiritual pet?" the old sect master asked in shock. Yi Qinghan nodded. It had finally matured. With it, it would be safer in the Sisui realm. The old sect master's eyes flashed. With the sacred beast golden crow and Yi Qinghan, it was only a matter of time before Divine Weapon Sect forged a master god weapon. "Seal the volcano. Forbid any fire-type divine beasts from approaching the volcano in the future," the old sect master ordered. He was scared out of his wits this time. Divine Weapon Sect was almost destroyed. That day, the old sect master announced that Yi Qinghan had become an honorary deacon of Divine Weapon Sect. Many people in Divine Weapon Sect were dissatisfied. An outsider who had contributed nothing to Divine Weapon Sect was promoted to honorary deacon. Many young disciples had worked hard for Divine Weapon Sect for thousands of years and could not even be considered inner disciples. However, who dared to question the old sect master's personal announcement? The 6 elders of Divine Weapon Sect all supported the old sect master's decision. Yi Qinghan was now an honorary deacon of Divine Weapon Sect. Tuoba Quangjuan was a little confused. He realized that he had wasted so much time only to benefit Divine Weapon Sect. How could he accept this? Fortunately, Yi Qinghan promised to continue visiting the Tuoba family. His expression eased a little. The next day, Yi Qinghan followed Tuoba Quangjuan to the Tuoba family's territory through the space gate. Meanwhile, Huojun took Yi Qinghan's token and headed to the mythical realm on a large cloud-piercing ship. Yi Qinghan instantly went from a nobody to a household name. There was no one who did not know who he was. In the Grand Divine Artifact sect, every inner disciple had to go through layers upon layers of tests. Even some of the young geniuses of large aristocratic families found it extremely difficult to enter the outer sect. But what did Yi Qinghan do to be directly promoted to an honorary deacon? Most people were discussing Yi Qinghan's background. The Tuoba family had already received the news. Even the information regarding Yi Qinghan and the little golden crow had reached Tuoba Jiuxiao's ears. Even Tuoba Jiuxiao, the patriarch of an ancient lineage, fell silent. Yi Qinghan's performance was simply too shocking. Even Divine Tool sect took the initiative to promote Yi Qinghan to an honorary deacon. This was a testament to his potential. Xian, do whatever it takes to conquer Yi Qinghan. Tuoba Jiuxiao looked straight at Tuoba Xian. His meaning was obvious. Tuoba Xuanxuan's face turned slightly red. She understood what Tuoba Jiuxiao meant. Even if she had to sacrifice her body, she had to conquer Yi Qinghan and make him work for the family. I will try my best. Tuoba Xian lowered her head and said, I don't want you to try your best, I want 100% success rate. If it really doesn't work, I want a child at least. I believe that the two of you are definitely among the best in the world. You can even be ranked in the top 50. The top 50 of the younger generation are all people from large clans and factions. You can't have any connection with them. This Yi Qinghan is the best candidate. Our Tuoba family needs true elites. You are a woman after all. The family cannot be entrusted to you, but it can be entrusted to your child. Do you understand? Tuoba Jiuxiao said in a deep voice. Tuoba Xuanxuan's expression changed slightly. She clenched her fists, her eyes filled with unwillingness. In the entire Tuoba family, there was no one else who could stand on the stage except for her. Why couldn't she inherit the family and lead them to the peak? Was it just because she was a woman? This time, Yi Qinghan is here. I will create an opportunity for the two of you. Once you have a child, you cannot tell him. This child must be the Tuoba family's. Tuoba Jiuxiao said firmly. Grandfather? Tuoba Xuanxuan's expression turned ugly. She didn't understand what she was in Tuoba Jiuxiao's eyes. Was she just a tool to strengthen the family? Tuoba Xuanxuan's attitude couldn't change Tuoba Jiuxiao's decision. That night, Tuoba Jiuxiao announced a gathering of heroes in the name of Tuoba Xian. He welcomed all the young elites in the world to come and spar. He also spread the news that the main purpose of this gathering was to find a cultivation partner for Tuoba Xian. In the Tuoba territory, all the young experts were excited. If they married Tuoba Xian, they would be able to save thousands of years of hard work. They would be able to turn from a pheasant into a phoenix in an instant. Yi Qinghan and Tuoba Quangjuan arrived outside the Tuoba family. Tuoba Quangjuan arranged for them to stay in the VIP room before reporting to Tuoba Jiuxiao. After seeing the majestic Divine Tools sect and Divine Fire City, the Tuoba family didn't seem to be so shocked anymore. Yi Qinghan had condensed all kinds of godheads in the past 6 months and entered the mid-level high god realm. His battle prowess had increased by 100-fold. He could defeat Tuoba Xian even without using the 10 direction seal. However, Yi Qinghan still suppressed his cultivation level to the low-level high god realm. He didn't reveal his full strength, leaving himself a way out. The divine bird's restless genes began to stir. It discovered that the Tuoba family had many treasures, so many that it was impossible to count them all. Yi Qinghan didn't want to fall out with the Tuoba family at this time. He suppressed the divine bird and didn't let it cause trouble. In the Tuoba family's territory, the young disciples of all the forces in the Qingshan continent went straight to the Tuoba main city through the space gate to participate in the meeting of heroes. Firstly, they wanted to verify their progress over the years and discuss the Tao arts that they couldn't comprehend. Secondly, they wanted to attract Tuoba Xuanxuan's attention and become the son-in-law of the Tuoba family. The Shui family of the Qingshan continent, King Shui, was a supreme king and a top expert of the young generation. His cultivation level was higher than Tuoba Xuanxuan's, but their battle prowess was on par. He was Tuoba Xuanxuan's most powerful suitor. The Lin family of the Lin family, Lin Zishan, was the third strongest expert of the young generation in the Qingshan continent. He was also Tuoba Xuanxuan's suitor. He had been on par with King Shui for the past few years. They would fight once every 10 years, but he always lost by a little. The second place was naturally Tuoba Xianxian. The fourth place was the Sky Sword Sect's Chen Kun. The fifth place was the son of the 9 Dark Strongholds leader, Xian. One had to admit that Xian was the most difficult person to deal with in the Qingshan continent. Although his cultivation and battle prowess were strong, he hadn't reached the level of an ultimate expert. He couldn't even be ranked in the top 500. However, he was an assassin and had a vengeful personality. His father was the leader of the 9 Dark Stronghold, and his cultivation level was close to the Master God level. Their entire family had the same personality. They were protective of their own people and had no bottom line. Very few people dared to provoke them. Sometimes, even the inner disciples of the Tuoba family would have to avoid Xian. The top 30 experts of the Qingshan continent, regardless of whether they were rogue cultivators or those from prominent families, had all arrived at the main city through the space gate to wait for tomorrow's meeting of heroes. Chapter 787. The next day, Yi Qinghan slowly woke up, but Tuoba Jiuxiao did not summon him. Instead, he was greeted by Tuoba Xianxian, who was extremely charming. She wore a cream-colored dress with sleeves that only covered her elbows. Her jade-like arms were like jade, and divine light circulated around them. Her twin peaks stood tall and straight. This kind of charm was different from Renhuang Ye's. Tuoba Xianxian made people impulsive, while Renhuang Yi made people calm down. Yi Qinghan raised his eyebrows. He did not understand why Tuoba Xianxian was dressed like this. Although it did not look out of place and was even more beautiful, he did not like Tuoba Xuanxuan's style. Perhaps he liked Tuoba Xuanxuan's heroic spirit and fighting spirit that was comparable to a man's. Why is she dressed like this? Yi Qinghan asked calmly. She's seducing you, idiot. The divine bird replied bluntly. Yi Qinghan, Tuoba Xianxian clenched her fists and glared at the divine bird to hide the panic in her heart. She looked straight at Yi Qinghan and said, "There's a gathering of heroes today. It's a gathering of the younger generation. It's good for you. My grandfather might not have time to see you today, so I'm inviting you to have some fun." "Who are they?" Yi Qinghan asked. "Qingshan continent's top 30 experts, Yuhaizhou and Xianyuan continent's top 10 experts. My 3 friends are all peerless beauties. They're considered top beauties in Sisui Plain. Are you interested?" Tuoba Xianxian smiled and asked, "If you're interested, why don't you change your clothes? I'll wait for you outside." Yi Qinghan nodded. Tuoba Xianxian glared at the divine bird, turned around, and left the room. The divine bird curled her lips and clicked her tongue. For a proper woman to suddenly become so flirtatious, if she doesn't have bad intentions, then she must have fallen in love with you and is trying to seduce you. No matter which one it is, you have to be careful. Otherwise, I'm worried that the little master will join forces with the people from the inner sect to beat you up. Yi Qinghan rolled his eyes. After a simple wash, he changed into a black battle robe that accentuated his tall and straight figure. No matter how he dressed, he was the center of attention and stood out from the crowd. "I'm just going to see the experts of the Xiasi water level, so I'm mentally prepared. Don't worry, I'm not interested in other women." Yi Qinghan tidied up his clothes and stepped out of the room. Looking at Tuoba Xuanxuan's faintly discernible curves, that kind of hazy feeling could definitely seduce any man. The two of them walked side by side, drawing the envy of the bystanders. A few young people from the Tuoba family looked at Yi Qinghan with anger and killing intent in their eyes. However, with Tuoba Xianxian beside him, they did not dare to act recklessly. Longquan Garden was Tuoba Xuanxuan's side courtyard. It was a huge independent side courtyard with mountains, rivers, forests, pavilions, and a small martial arts arena. At this moment, there were more than 40 experts sitting in the side courtyard. 5 of them were women, and the rest were all top-notch elites. Any one of them was comparable to the inner sect experts of the insane sect, an existence that could wipe out a small middle realm. Each of them was handsome and dignified. 3 in a group, 2 in a team. However, there were 5 experts who were more aloof and arrogant, unwilling to interact with others. Qingshan Continent's number 1 expert, Shui Jiwang, number 5, and Xian, Yuhai Continent's governor's son, Yu He, and Xianyuan family's Xianyuan Continent's Xianyuan Zio. Both of them were the representatives of their respective continents. Coupled with their prominent backgrounds, they did not like to interact with outsiders. Their target this time was Tuoba Xianxian, hoping to marry Tuoba Xianxian to achieve their goal of forming an alliance. There was also a cold young man who was also dressed in black. He was as cold as ice and did not speak much. The sword in his hand never left his palm, keeping everyone at 1,000 miles away. The 5 top-notch female cultivators were indeed as Tuoba Xianxian had said. They were all peerless beauties. However, looking at the situation, the 5 of them seemed to be very familiar with each other. At this moment, they were gathered together to discuss something. However, they kept the other men outside, warning anyone who approached them. At this moment, Tuoba Xianxian brought Yi Qinghan into the Longquan garden. The divine bird sat on Yi Qinghan's shoulder and smiled arrogantly. It swept its gaze over the 40 people in the pavilion at the side of the martial arts field like a supreme emperor. Tuoba Xuanxuan's dressing today indeed made everyone's eyes light up, especially those women. Their eyes widened, and at this moment, these women seemed to pale in comparison. Xianxian, did you eat the wrong medicine? You're actually wearing a dress, and such a seductive one at that. Who are you trying to seduce today? An extremely beautiful woman was shocked. She was Qingshan Continent's governor's princess, Yi Shanjing. Other than Tuoba Xianxian, she was the most beautiful woman. Yi Shanjing moved from Tuoba Xuanxuan's body to Yi Qinghan's side. She looked at Yi Qinghan's tall and straight body, his imposing aura, and his devilish appearance, and couldn't help but come to a realization. She clicked her tongue in wonder and joked, "Yo, Xianxian, you don't seem to be choosing a husband this time, but to tell us that you've already chosen a husband, right?" The women were still fine, but the other men's expressions changed. They stared at Yi Qinghan and released their auras, pressuring Yi Qinghan. At least 30 young experts released their auras towards Yi Qinghan, causing the sky to change color. Yi Qinghan's robe was blown up by the wind, and his hair was blown back. However, he didn't look at the crowd, and his expression didn't even change. He was strolling leisurely as if nothing had happened. "Little girl, what nonsense are you talking about? Be careful or I'll beat you up." Tuoba Xuanxuan's face was bright red, and this was the first time she looked shy. Seeing this, Yi Shanjing and the others smiled faintly. There was no need to say anything about such an obvious thing. King Shui coldly glanced at Yi Qinghan and asked Tuoba Xianxian gently, "Xianxian, why don't you introduce him to me? Why haven't I seen this person before? Can any Tom, Dick, and Harry participate in the meeting of heroes? A nobody and a low-level high god rookie. Miss Xianxian, could it be that he's your distant relative?" And Xian said disdainfully. Tuoba Xianxian saw the hostility of the crowd and quickly transmitted to Yi Qinghan, "Don't be angry, I didn't tell them that you're participating in the meeting of heroes. Let me introduce everyone. This is Yi Qinghan. I'm sure everyone has heard of him before. He's a famous person recently, and he's the honorary deacon of the Divine Artifact sect." Tuoba Xianxian pulled Yi Qinghan's arm and walked towards the forest pavilion. She said with a smile, "I've known Mr. Yi for many years, and I once fought with him in the mythological plane. I lost by a little, but we're friends now. He has a wife, so don't spout nonsense. His wife is much prettier than me, and I can't help but feel pity for her. TSK, I didn't expect Xianxian to have such a feminine side. She's even lying to herself now." Yi Shanjing continued to tease. "That's right, I always thought that Sister Xianxian was the manliest of the women. I didn't expect her to become a woman when she has feelings." "Ha!" The 5 women laughed, and Tuoba Xianxian couldn't raise her head. "Greetings, Yi Qinghan. Fellow Taoist Xianxian and I are just ordinary friends. Please don't misunderstand. This will only tarnish fellow Taoist Xian Xian's reputation. Yi Qinghan slowly spoke up, his hoarse voice causing the 5 female cultivators to have a much better impression of him. Chapter 788. The 5 female cultivators had a good impression of Yi Qinghan. In addition, they believed that Tuoba Xianxian had chosen Yi Qinghan, so they did not give him any face. However, the others didn't think so, especially those super experts who had a good impression of Tuoba Xianxian and were pursuing her. Their expressions changed abruptly. Yi Qinghan? Junior, I wonder which elder of divine artifact sect you have to suck up to become an honorary deacon? And Xian said with disdain, not giving him any face at all. Maybe it's Elder Feng of the divine artifact sect. He likes pretty boys like you the most. They're good-looking but not very capable. All you have to do is turn your back to him and bow. Cheng Kuan laughed. Haha. Everyone laughed. Even the female cultivators knew what Cheng Kuan meant. Their faces turned red. Elder Feng of divine artifact sect was known for his fondness for men, especially young ones. Not many could escape his grasp. Yi Qinghan's eyes were cold as he looked at Xian. Killing intent flashed in his eyes as he loosened his fist. Cheng Kuan, don't talk nonsense. Fellow Taoist Yi doesn't know you. It wouldn't be good if she misunderstood. Tuoba Xianxian frowned. She felt that Cheng Kuan had gone too far. Miss Xianxian, am I wrong? Cheng Kuan had a cunning look on his face. Perhaps because he was a young master of an aristocratic family, he was used to fighting and scheming against others. Oh, you know so much about it. It seems that Elder Feng of the divine artifact sect has visited you. Does your anus still hurt? Yi Qinghan was too lazy to argue with others, but the divine bird's words were even more vicious. His words silenced everyone. Cheng Kuan's face turned purple as he glared at the divine bird. He was so angry that he vomited blood. At this time, everyone stared at Cheng Kuan with a look of sudden realization. Cheng Kuan got goosebumps from being stared at. He shouted, I've never been done by him. We understand, you don't need to explain. King Shui and the others laughed loudly, as if they understood everything. The faces of several female cultivators turned red, and their strange eyes seemed to say, no wonder you know so clearly. It turns out that you've been slept with. Cheng Kuan was furious. He couldn't refute the divine bird's words. Now no one believed him. Tuoba Xianxian blocked Yi Qinghan. Taoist Cheng, this is my home. Do you think it's a good place to fight? Cheng Kuan's. A cornered dog will do something desperate. You must have been poked at your sore spot. Don't worry, we are all good people. We won't mock you. The divine bird jumped onto Tuoba Xuanxuan's shoulder and said smugly. Cheng Kuan's breathing quickened. His chest heaved up and down, and his fingers trembled. He did not know what to say. And Xian sneered and said, what a sharp-tongued lowly bird. You dare to spout nonsense in this kind of situation. Tisk Hithe, there are so many people here, but only the 2 of you know about Elder Feng. Looks like this Elder Feng has quite the pervert, to think he would defile the 2 of you, the divine bird mocked. Yi Qinghan sneered. Bickering with the divine bird was just asking for trouble. And Xian's killing intent appeared. Are you done? Are you not going to give me face? Tuoba Xuanxuan's aura changed. I'll just kill this bird. No one in Qingshan continent dares to talk to me like that. And Xian said coldly. I'm so scared of you. Defeat Beauty Xianxian before you talk to this divine bird. If you can't even beat her, you're just a woman. How can you fight with the great all-beast divine emperor? The divine bird said in disdain. And Xian was furious. He was about to go berserk. Tuoba Xianxian frowned and glared at the divine bird. Shut up. I know you're strong. Plus, there are many people in the world who can't beat me. Are they all women? Even if they are women, so what? So what if they're women? The divine bird looked at Tuoba Xuanxuan's angry face and laughed. He knew he said the wrong thing. He included Tuoba Xianxian in his words. Women are pretty good. Hee, you're so beautiful that even this divine bird is tempted by you. My master definitely won't be able to escape from your grasp. the divine bird said in a flattering manner. Tuoba Xianxian snorted. She couldn't be bothered to talk to it. She changed the topic. Everyone, please take a seat. Today, I encountered a small problem in my cultivation. I'd like to invite everyone to discuss the Tao. You can say whatever you want today. You can also spar with each other. After he finished speaking, Xian and Cheng Kuan sneered. Their eyes filled with killing intent swept past Yi Qinghan as they chose a place to sit down. Tuoba Xianxian started the topic to attract attention. Yi Qinghan only listened quietly. He didn't participate in the discussion. However, these people were indeed outstanding in their own ways. Every word of theirs had the effect of adding the finishing touch to a story, causing others to suddenly see the light. 1,000 people had 1,000 ideas. They all had different ways to solve the Tao. This provided Yi Qinghan with many ideas. Everyone saw that Yi Qinghan only listened but didn't say anything. He even nodded occasionally. They all felt that he was just making up the numbers. Their eyes were full of disdain. Sometimes, even Yi Shanjing felt that Yi Qinghan was like a silver spear made of wax. Yi Qinghan, you must have some skills to be able to become an honorary deacon in Divine Artifact Sect. I wonder if you can broaden my horizons? King Shui looked at Yi Qinghan and asked calmly. Yi Qinghan smiled. Divine Artifact Sect is too kind. I only have a fire essence. I'll be useful to them in the future. Fire origin body? So it's a special constitution. No wonder. Some of the weaker elites suddenly realized. They didn't have the right to look down on an essence body. Their eyes were filled with respect. However, King Shui and the others all had special constitutions. They all had the ability to kill special constitutions. It was only an essence body. They didn't care about it at all. Then Taoist Yi, which aspect are you most proficient in? Why don't you show it to everyone? You've been listening without saying anything. Isn't this unfair to us? Yu Haizhou and Yu He stared at Yi Qinghan intensely, wanting to force Yi Qinghan to make a move. However, Yu He was hoping that Yi Qinghan was just there to make up the numbers. That way, they could eliminate one of their opponents. Everyone looked at Yi Qinghan. They saw that he was standing in front of a bush while Tuoba Xianxian was following him. They were very jealous and wanted to cause trouble for Yi Qinghan. I heard that you even defeated Taoist Xianxian. Then do you mind sparring with me? My cultivation is not as good as Taoist Xuanxuan's. Cheng Kuan coldly said. Cheng Kuan was the first disciple of Sky Sword sect. His Sky Sword art was enough to suppress an era. He had fought for thousands of years. Other than Tuoba Xianxian, only King Shui could fight him in the entire Clear Spirit continent. Yi Qinghan looked at Tuoba Xianxian. His original intention today was to see the true strength of these young prodigies. He also wanted to use the strengths of the various sects to make up for his own weakness. Now that Insane Sect hadn't established itself, it wouldn't be appropriate to offend these first disciples. Chapter 789. Yi Qinghan looked at Tuoba Xianxian. He really didn't want to fight with them here as there was no benefit at all. What? Do you only know how to hide behind a woman? No wonder you're licking Elder Feng's boots. Cheng Kuan mocked. TSK, you still dare to mention this. Are you afraid that others don't know that Elder Feng is behind you? Pretty boy, why are you so shameless? The divine bird sneered. Cheng Kuan was furious. He was so angry that he felt dizzy. Yi Qinghan, do you dare to fight? If you don't, then get out. Don't embarrass yourself here. Cheng Kuan looked at Yi Qinghan in the eye. Hey, why are you asking for a beating? Yi Qinghan smiled bitterly. This kind of person was really asking for a beating. I'm asking for a beating? Huh. Come if you're capable. If you can beat me, I'll apologize to you. Cheng Kuan roared. Alright, let's stop here. 2 moves, 1 move each. We'll back off and lose. How about that? Yi Qinghan said calmly. Okay. Cheng Kuan agreed without hesitation. He wanted to vent his anger on Yi Qinghan. It would be degrading to argue with the divine bird. Tuoba Xianxian also didn't want to hurt their relationship. Knowing Yi Qinghan's strength, she transmitted her voice. He has such a temper. Don't take it to heart. Just defeat him. There's no need to hurt him. After all, the Sky Sword sect is a large power. Yi Qinghan nodded slightly and walked towards the training field. Cheng Kun was proud. He wanted to show off his domineering aura and let Tuoba Xianxian see his manliness. Tuoba Xianxian was helpless. She could only remind him, Cheng Kun, be careful. Don't force yourself. Cheng Kun thought that Tuoba Xianxian was worried about him. He patted his chest and said, Miss Xianxian, don't worry. I'm confident in dealing with him. Sigh. Tuoba Xianxian sighed. Men, no matter how strong they were all fools when they were jealous. They had completely forgotten their own surnames. Yi Qinghan clenched his fists. The god's severing gauntlets were attached to his iron fists. He stood proudly like a pine tree and looked at Cheng Kun indifferently. Bring out your weapon and attack first. Otherwise, don't blame me for not giving you a chance, Cheng Kun said arrogantly. Everyone sat up straight and raised their heads in anticipation. However, Tuoba Xianxian knew that once Yi Qinghan made his move, Cheng Kun would definitely not have a chance to retaliate. Thus, she said, Taoist Cheng Kun, you go first. Yi Qinghan nodded and gestured for Cheng Kun to make the first move. Cheng Kun didn't know what was good for him and wanted to show off his manliness. He said disdainfully, you go first. After all, you're a guest and a low-level high deity. If it were anyone else, I wouldn't even be interested. The divine bird looked up at the sky. It really didn't want to see Cheng Kun's miserable state. Yi Qinghan didn't hold back anymore. He didn't even use berserk. He changed his aura and controlled the space-time order of the entire arena. Cheng Kun couldn't move an inch. The gravity on the ground could crush a mid-level high deity's body. Low-level high deities couldn't even think about moving. As for Cheng Kun, he could still move, but it was impossible for him to dodge quickly. Boom. Hua. Yi Qinghan's fist was like the wind, shattering the space. His iron fist was covered in flames and devoured everything. In the blink of an eye, it was right in front of Cheng Kun. Cheng Kun was terrified. He wanted to dodge, but his legs were as heavy as lead. He couldn't move at all. He felt that the space around him had become stagnant. He couldn't control the order anymore. He couldn't even control the aura of the outside world. He could only raise his sword to block Yi Qinghan's fist. Bang! Yi Qinghan only used the divine power of the dragon godhead, but it almost broke Cheng Kun's sword. Cheng Kun's body flew into the distance like a kite with a broken string. Bam! 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 Cheng Kun kept retreating. Yi Qinghan's power of destruction entered Cheng Kun's body through the scabbard, making him as helpless as a mortal. Swish. And Xian and Cheng Kun's relationship was considered good. And Xian's figure flickered as he reached out to catch Xian. However, the moment they touched, another wave of energy erupted from Cheng Kun's body and blasted into Xian's. Boom. The two of them slammed into a pillar, triggering a defensive formation. The two of them bounced back and fell to the ground. Kakik! What a good move! What a pair of like-minded friends. The divine bird snickered. Everyone wanted to laugh, but they were also shocked by Yi Qinghan's strength. How much power did that punch contain? How many profound mysteries and grand daos did it use? Others might not be able to see it, but how could these elites not see it? The grand Tao of order, the law of space, the profound mysteries of force, the origin of fire, the power of destruction, the profound mysteries of hitting a cow from a distance, the one-inch strike, every profound law was ingeniously used, making it impossible for Cheng Kun to defend himself. This was the price of underestimating his opponent. Pooh! As soon as Cheng Kun got up, he felt his blood and qi blocked in his throat, forcing him to spit it out. And Xian was the unlucky one. He just wanted to act cool and catch Cheng Kun, but he didn't expect to be struck by lightning and implicated himself. Their faces turned purple. Yi Qinghan didn't want to hurt them at all. Otherwise, if he used his full strength, the two of them wouldn't be able to get up. Clap, 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 Shui Jiwang and the others couldn't help but stand up and applaud. Although this power wasn't great, and the instantaneous explosion of divine power wasn't very strong, it won in terms of profound mysteries and superb secret techniques. Just this move alone was enough to make him a top-notch expert in the clear spirit continent. However, they didn't know that Yi Qinghan didn't use his full strength at all. He only used a single godhead. If he used all his strength, it would be equivalent to 20 times the instantaneous explosion, turning Cheng Kuan into dust. Tuoba Xianxian stared blankly at Yi Qinghan. She knew that he had improved again. He was much stronger than before. If he wanted to win against her, he didn't need to use the 10 Directions Seal's peak power. Yi Shanjing and the other female cultivators opened their mouths to speak but stopped. They didn't know how to describe the shock in their hearts. They thought that Yi Qinghan was able to suppress Tuoba Xianxian because of his handsomeness, but it turned out that he really suppressed her. Yi Shanjing thought about it and agreed. If he couldn't suppress a woman like Tuoba Xianxian, how could he conquer her manly heart? Thank you for letting me win. Yi Qinghan withdrew his fist and said calmly. Before Cheng Kuan could say anything, and Xian suddenly pulled out his sword and disappeared in the air. The entire courtyard fell into a gloomy, murderous aura. Xiao and Xian appeared again in the blink of an eye. But when he appeared, his sword was already at the back of Yi Qinghan's neck. It was only a few millimeters away from piercing through Yi Qinghan's neck and suppressing his life force. But Yi Qinghan's body turned, and the sword slashed across in Xian's neck. Blood flashed, and in the blink of an eye, the wound was healed. Yi Qinghan raised his hand and ruthlessly slapped in Xian's face. Boom! And Xian's body was directly smashed to the ground by Yi Qinghan's slap. His head heavily hit the stone floor, activating the array. Blood flowed from his head and his mind went dark. He let out a muffled groan and fainted. Hissed out. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Yi Qinghan's speed was too fast. It was as if he knew that Xian would sneak attack him from behind. His turn was as smooth as flowing water. Chapter 790. And Xian was slapped so hard that he couldn't get up for a long time. His handsome face quickly swelled up. His mind was dark and dizzy. He felt like he had taken the initiative to reach out his face for Yi Qinghan to slap him. He couldn't understand the situation. Yi Qinghan's eyes turned cold. This person clearly had killing intent. If he couldn't dodge it, he would definitely die. I'll give Miss Xianxian some face this time. If you dare to attack again, I'll kill you. Yi Qinghan said coldly. And Xian groaned and struggled to get up from the ground. He squinted his eyes and stared at Yi Qinghan. He didn't understand how Yi Qinghan discovered him. Yi Qinghan was at the perfection stage of the spatial laws. The order of the surroundings was under his control. He was the master of everything within 100 meters. Even if he was twice as strong, he still wouldn't be able to kill Yi Qinghan. Just his state of mind wasn't enough. Once Yi Qinghan's strength increased, his assassination technique would kill him 100 times over. Don't go too far. Let's not hurt each other. Tuoba Xianxian quickly became the peacemaker. She didn't want Yi Qinghan to kill Xian. You dare to sneak attack with just this bit of strength? This divine bird can suppress you with one claw, let alone this divine bird's master. TSK, there are so many idiots in the world. This place has the most. The divine bird mocked. Everyone was speechless. This lowly bird wanted to offend everyone. What did it mean by this place has the most? Could it be that everyone was an idiot? Yi Shanjing liked this divine bird more and more. It was so lowly that it was cute. Yi Qinghan remained silent. He didn't want to cause trouble. However, if anyone dared to provoke him, he would definitely make a move. And Xian and Cheng Kuan stared at the divine bird. Their killing intent was getting stronger. The divine bird stood on Tuoba Xuanxuan's shoulder. It knew that the two didn't dare to make a move. It said arrogantly, "Trash, if you don't like this divine bird, come and hit me." Yi Shanjing and the other female cultivators directly spat out their tea. This fellow was truly a troublemaker who wished for the world to be in chaos. Tuoba Xianxian was speechless. She turned to look at the divine bird on her shoulder and said in a muffled voice, "Can you not speak?" "Can?" The divine bird flapped its wings and said disdainfully, "A group of existences with 0 IQ. This divine bird is such a high-level creature that I can't be bothered to bicker with you." After the divine bird finished speaking, it flew into Yi Qinghan's body and turned into a mark that appeared on Yi Qinghan's arm. King Shui and the other experts pretended to be calm and showed their kingly demeanor. They did not want to bicker with the divine bird. They knew that there was no benefit in bickering with it, and they had even lost face in front of Tuoba Xianxian. If they fought with Yi Qinghan, it would be unfair to win, but if they lost, it would be a complete loss of their reputation. After all, their cultivation levels were different. Everyone returned to their seats. Yi Qinghan was still standing in the garden, looking at the green willow. It was as if looking at the scenery was more comfortable than interacting with the others. Tuoba Xianxian went to greet everyone. Yi Shanjing and the others looked at each other and gathered around. Young Master Yi, how do you know Xianxian? Where are you from? How many people are there in your family? Yi Shanjing asked continuously. Yi Qinghan was speechless. He looked at Yi Shanjing calmly, but he did not know her. Cough cough. Let me introduce myself. I am the youngest daughter of the Clear Spirit Continent's Prefecture Lord, Yi Shanjing. Greetings, young Master Yi. Yi Shanjing lowered her head shyly, not daring to look at Yi Qinghan directly. Young Master Yi, I am the dragon spirit of the dragon clan. Greetings, young Master Yi. Just now, I felt a very strong dragon bloodline in your body. Are you also a dragon bloodline inheritor? At this moment, a crisp voice sounded. Yi Qinghan looked up at the dragon spirit. She looked small and delicate, but her figure was definitely a baby's peak. At most, she was about 1.65 meters. She looked so pitiful that even the heavens would pity her. The dragon spirit also had dragon bloodline, but its level was too low. At least compared to Yi Qinghan, it was too far away. Yi Qinghan nodded and said, Greetings, fellow Taoists. I do have dragon bloodline in my body, but it was formed later. I am not a natural dragon bloodline inheritor. The dragon spirit was a natural inheritor, but as time passed, the level of her bloodline became lower and lower. It seemed that the dragon clan had also declined. If no dragon bloodline was born in 1,000 years, it was very likely that they would disappear in the long river of history. The dragon bloodline was very precious. It had saved the human race several times in history and belonged to the core camp of the witch race. The dragon spirit looked at Yi Qinghan enviously. The level of the dragon bloodline formed after birth was so high. It was much higher than her, a natural dragon bloodline inheritor. Thinking about the current situation of the clan, she could not help but sigh sadly. If another dragon bloodline was born in the dragon clan, it would not lose to any of the 10 great battle constitutions of the past. Young Master Yi, can you sell a portion of your essence blood to me? I am willing to pay any price. The dragon spirit looked at Yi Qinghan firmly. It could be seen that she wanted to revive the clan. Essence blood was related to the power of qi and blood. Some people could even use essence blood to control people. It was very important. If there was no special relationship, essence blood would not be leaked. Yi Qinghan shook his head and refused without hesitation. His essence blood, other than the inner sect and those children, could not be given to anyone, especially these ancient clans. He did not want to take the risk. So I was too impatient. Fellow Taoist, please don't take it to heart. The dragon spirit said helplessly. It's okay. Yi Qinghan said indifferently. The dragon spirit opened her mouth and wanted to buy his essence blood. At first glance, he could tell that she was a very pure little girl from a rich family with no survival experience. Otherwise, she would not want to buy his essence blood on their first meeting. Fellow Taoist Yi, since you are so familiar with Xianxian, why don't you sell her a portion? She can refine it on the spot. You are a man, are you afraid that a little girl will harm you? At this time, another woman's eyes shined. She was clearly an intelligent person. But at this moment, she was holding on to the dragon spirit's arm. It could be seen that the two had a good relationship and she wanted to persuade Yi Qinghan on behalf of the dragon spirit. She was Shui Yuner, the princess of the Shui family. The relationship between the dragon family and the Shui family was very good, and she had a strong protective nature. She had always been taking care of the dragon spirit. Otherwise, with her temperament, the dragon family would not have allowed her to go out. That's right. Even if you don't want to give face to the monk, you still have to give face to the Buddha. It's just a portion of essence blood. With so many beautiful women begging you, you should just give it to them. If you really can't do it, then have Ling give her body to you, he. Several women jeered in unison. The dragon spirit lowered her head, not daring to look at Yi Qinghan. Her fingertips trembled as dragon might circulated. Yi Qinghan shook his head. For such a girl, no matter how strong she was, it would be difficult for her to display the might of her dragon bloodline. Her personality was too soft, too weak, and not suitable for battle. It was better for her to be a good girl at home and go out to gain experience. She might be whole when she left, but she might never return. Giving her essence blood would be harming her. Sorry, let's talk about this later. Yi Qinghan tactfully declined. Aya, you're so handsome and strong. Why bother with a portion of essence blood? I'm willing to exchange a divine artifact for it. Shui Yuna wrapped herself around Yi Qinghan's arm, almost shamelessly sticking to Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan wanted to pull his arm away, but Shui Yuna wouldn't let go. Instead, she pressed down on Yi Qinghan's arm with a mountain peak, making him not dare to move. The scene was extremely explosive. Yi Shanjing and the others covered their mouths and snickered. Seeing the incomparably powerful Yi Qinghan at a loss, they couldn't stop laughing. Tuoba Xianxian walked over. Seeing the women surrounding Yi Qinghan, she actually felt a little jealous, but she quickly restrained herself. Chapter 791. When Tuoba Xianxian saw her friends pestering Yi Qinghan, she felt an inexplicable sourness in her heart. She didn't know why she felt this way. What are you doing? Tuoba Xianxian asked curiously. Yi Qinghan didn't know whether to move or not. Shui Yuna is a forthright but scheming bitch. She grasped Yi Qinghan's weakness and stuck her body close to him. It seems that she won't give up until Long Ling gets what she wants. Xianxian, this guy's bloodline is a dragon bloodline, much higher than Linger's. I can't even buy some essence blood from him. Say something and beg for mercy. This is related to Linger's future. Shui Yuna almost clamped her legs around Yi Qinghan, for fear that he would suddenly run away. Yi Qinghan smiled bitterly. He was afraid of hurting her and losing his grace. However, Shui Yuna's hot peaks were sticking so close to him. That softness was indeed comfortable, but it was too strange. Sister Yuna, forget it. Don't make things difficult for young Master Yi. Long Ling looked at Shui Yuna's shameless appearance and felt that she was making things difficult for her. This is the first time she has stuck to a man like this. It's obviously for her sake. No, why are you so disappointing? If you get the dragon essence blood, you can awaken the dragon bloodline in your body. Why don't you fight for it? It's not like you'll lose face. We're not trying to seduce you with beauty. We're buying. Shui Yuna said seriously. Isn't this a forced purchase? Girls, if you want the essence blood, you have to. The divine bird rushed out, but before it could finish speaking, it was slapped back by Yi Qinghan. Brother Qinghan, these are my best friends. They don't have any malice. If possible, I can guarantee that Ling will refine it in my room and won't leak your essence blood. Is that okay? Tuoba Xianxian looked at Shui Yuna's attitude and could only helplessly plead. Yi Qinghan could only nod and agree. The divine bird is spouting nonsense. Fairies, please don't take it to heart. The blood essence isn't that valuable, but it concerns my safety. If fellow Taoist dragon spirit refines it on the spot and completely fuses with it, I won't be unreasonable. Indeed, Xuanxuan's words are the most effective. I've already pestered you to this extent, but you're still not moved. Sai, am I that ugly? Shui Yuna hugged Yi Qinghan's arm with both hands and clamped Yi Qinghan's thigh between her legs. She stared at Yi Qinghan and pretended to be aggrieved as she asked. Tuoba Xianxian was overjoyed. Since Yi Qinghan could change his attitude because of her, it meant that he had some influence. Yi Qinghan could only smile bitterly. Fellow Taoist, please come down first. I will agree. Really? Shui Yuna's eyes widened and she asked excitedly. Really, absolutely. Yi Qinghan guaranteed. Only then did Shui Yuna let go of Yi Qinghan in satisfaction. The dragon spirit excitedly bowed and said, Many thanks for young Master Ye's help. As long as young Master has a request, I will agree to any request. Forget it. As long as you refine a drop of blood essence, it's not a big deal to me. A pill can make up for it. Don't worry about it. Yi Qinghan mobilized his divine power and forced out a drop of blood essence that radiated divine light. It was filled with the majesty of a dragon, as if it was alive and had its own soul. Then he sent it to the dragon spirit. At this moment, everyone looked over, attracted by that drop of blood essence. Dragon blood essence isn't so easy to obtain, especially in this day and age where dragons have long disappeared. This bloodline can only be found in some ancient dragon clan collateral inheritances that occasionally give birth to some pure dragon bloodline. However, it isn't a true dragon bloodline and is far less pure than Yi Qinghan's dragon blood. However, Yi Qinghan's blood essence still can't be considered dragon blood. Xianyuan Ao of the Xianyuan family walked over and asked faintly, "Fellow Taoist Yi, I wonder if you can sell me a portion of your blood essence?" "Sorry, I won't sell it again." Yi Qinghan firmly refused. If the dragon spirit wasn't an inheritance of the dragon clan, he wouldn't have given it to her no matter what. Yi Qinghan looked at the blood essence in the dragon spirit's hand and said in a deep voice, "Please refine it. You can't take it away, or I will take it back." Tuoba Xianxian brought the dragon spirit into her boudoir and watched her refine it with her own eyes. This can also be considered as an explanation to Yi Qinghan. The pure dragon blood flowed on the dragon spirit's fingertips and actually seeped into her body through her skin. It turned into countless rays of divine light that rushed throughout her entire body, triggering the dragon bloodline genes in her body and continuously expanding outwards. Genes are really too rare. If it wasn't for the pure dragon blood essence, she wouldn't have been able to awaken the dragon bloodline. The genes in the dragon spirit's body exploded and flowed in all directions, breaking through her skin. Messy blood rushed out of her body and the blood cells began to produce new blood, replacing the impure blood with new blood. The dragon genes were stimulated by Yi Qinghan's blood essence. More and more genes were stimulated and replicated. The dragon genes appeared to be explosively filling the dragon spirit's body. The speed at which the blood cells were producing blood far exceeded the speed at which she was bleeding. The dragon blood boiled. The dragon spirit's physical body couldn't withstand such a strong impact at all. She couldn't help but groan and frown, but she still gritted her teeth and persevered. Sweat kept dripping from her forehead as her entire body was bathed in a river of blood. The powerful dragon blood began to transform her physical body. Her physical body was constantly being torn apart and reformed. The dragon aura in her body began to burst forth. This was the true aura of a dragon. "Ah!" the dragon spirit screamed. This heart-wrenching pain was unbearable. It was her first time refining her body, and it was passive. It was normal that she couldn't withstand it. Not many people could shatter their physical body and rebuild it like Yi Qinghan. Tuoba Xianxian frowned. She could see that the dragon spirit's pain was beyond her limit. The dragon bloodline was too powerful and shouldn't appear in the dragon spirit's body. Yi Qinghan didn't give it to her because he considered this point. "Hua?" Tuoba Xianxian opened the door and said to Yi Qinghan, "Fellow Taoist Yi, can you come in and help? Ling Er's physical body might not be able to withstand the dragon bloodline. I don't know much about the dragon bloodline." Yi Qinghan's figure flashed and entered the room. He saw the dragon spirit clenching her teeth and persevering. Her teeth were even biting into her lips. It was obvious how determined she was to activate the dragon bloodline. "Relax, I'll help you. You just need to stay true to your heart." Yi Qinghan tapped the dragon spirit's forehead and sent the soul-suppressing pearl into her spiritual sea to ensure that her soul was highly awake. At least, her soul wouldn't die. With the soul-suppressing pearl, the dragon spirit's spiritual sea was clear. She was no longer drowsy. She opened her eyes and nodded gratefully. She said in a hoarse voice, "Thank you, young master." Yi Qinghan took the initiative to help the dragon spirit defend and prevent her body from exploding. The dragon bloodline was too powerful. It was so powerful that Yi Qinghan had to use all his strength to stabilize this unformed dragon bloodline. "Miss Xianxian, please guard the door. Don't let anyone in." Yi Qinghan clenched his teeth and shook his god power. He directly tore all the clothes on the dragon spirit's body, revealing a perfect body. Tuoba Xuanxuan's expression changed. If she didn't know Yi Qinghan's character, She would even think that Yi Qinghan was deliberately taking advantage of her. However, she knew that Yi Qinghan wouldn't do this just to see the dragon spirit's body. As long as he wanted it, there would be many people who would take the initiative to take off their clothes. Yi Qinghan poured out his god power and protected the surroundings. He started to reconstruct the dragon spirit's physical body from her heart. The fire origin wrapped around the two of them. Tuoba Xuanxuan's room started to burn. Chapter 792. In one of the Tuoba family's courtyards, flames rose into the sky as the formation was activated. Divine light shone brightly. Tuoba Xianxian persuaded everyone to leave, leaving only Shui Yuner and herself in the courtyard. The fire in the house burned for a day and a night. A giant dragon's god might was gradually rising. Its aura was terrifying, suppressing the entire Tuoba family. It even alerted the cultivators in Tuoba city. This was the aura of a true chaos dragon. It hadn't truly formed yet, but it was already rushing out in all directions. In an instant, it broke through the defense of Tuoba main city and rushed towards Qingshan continent. It was as though a true chaos dragon was awakening. Jiuxiao space-time caused the river to reverse. Yin and Yang appeared, and the divine phoenix's shadow sword. Tuoba Quangjuan, Tuoba Jiuxiao, and the other half-step lords rushed out. They wanted to enter to investigate, but they were stopped by Tuoba Xianxian. What's going on? This is a giant dragon's aura. Why is it inside the Tuoba family? Tuoba Jiuxiao asked in a deep voice. It's the dragon spirit. The genes in its body have been activated by Yi Qinghan. It's rebuilding its golden body now, and it should be done soon. The two of you should go in later. If you interrupt the transformation, all your efforts will be in vain, Tuoba Xianxian explained. The range is too wide. It'll attract powerhouses to fight for the giant dragon's origin. Quangjuan, activate the family's defense formation. Forbid any half-step lords from entering the Tuoba family. Tuoba Jiuxiao's expression changed. Although he was an ultimate old monster, the chaos dragon's aura had shaken his body out of control. His qi and blood stagnated, and greed flashed through his eyes. Tuoba Quangjuan quickly left the courtyard and headed outside. He activated the outermost defense formation, followed by the chaos ancient formation inside. He activated the formation at all costs. Where's Yi Qinghan? Tuoba Jiuxiao asked. He's helping her rebuild her body. He has the dragon tribe's bloodline too. Although it's not a giant dragon's bloodline, it's second only to a giant dragon. His bloodline is pure. He's the only one who knows how to rebuild a dragon's body, Tuoba Xianxian replied. I've informed Uncle Long and my father. They should be here soon, Shui Yuner said in a deep voice when she saw Tuoba Jiuxiao's strange expression. Tuoba Jiuxiao's expression changed. If he wanted the dragon's origin, he would have to leave Yi Qinghan behind. Could the Tuoba family really resist the joint attack of Divine Tool Sect, Long family, and Shui family? Moreover, the aura of the giant dragon bloodline's origin had already leaked out. Soon, there would be experts coming to snatch the origin. When that time came, the Tuoba family would not only be facing the three major forces, but the entire world. At this moment, the giant dragon bloodline origin inheritance was definitely not a good thing. It was a hot potato. Whoever caught it would be unlucky. Within 3 days, there would definitely be some old monsters gathering outside the Tuoba family. Reason prevailed over greed. His last bit of clarity told Tuoba Jiuxiao that he could not participate in the fight for the primal chaos dragon's origin for now. He had to wait for an opportunity. Even if he obtained the primal chaos dragon's origin now, he would need hundreds of years to refine it. Inside the room, Yi Qinghan and the dragon spirit were submerged in the fire origin. Yi Qinghan did not expect that a drop of essence blood would be able to awaken the dragon spirit's primal chaos dragon's origin inheritance. Perhaps the dragon spirit had a lot of hidden giant dragon genes. This was the only explanation. Yi Qinghan knew his limits. He could not use a drop of essence blood to create a primal chaos dragon. Otherwise, the world would fight over him and he would be torn apart. The dragon spirit's soul was still conscious at this moment. The soul-suppressing pearl had played a great role. Although it was still very painful, Yi Qinghan had blocked off most of the meridians and veins, preventing the pain from reaching the dragon spirit's brain. After an entire day and night, he had only managed to create half of the dragon spirit's body. The giant dragon bloodline did not allow for carelessness. The slightest mistake could lead to a huge difference. If he wasted more time now, the dragon spirit's strength would be closer to the primal chaos dragons. The dragon spirit did not have any privacy. She was like a person created by Yi Qinghan, and Yi Qinghan was her creator. Her body was naked. At first, she was a little shy. Her breasts were in full view. Her flat stomach, sparkling legs, and arms were filled with dragon blood. The dragon's aura spread out, stimulating the dragon's aura in Yi Qinghan's body. Their blood roared at high speed, and the power of qi and blood exploded, shattering the room. Tuoba Xianxian and the rest all left the courtyard and waited quietly for the primal chaos dragon to be born. Half a day later, Tuoba Quangjuan came to report that the Shui family's head, Shui Wuhan, and the Long family's head, Long Songhai, had all arrived at the Tuoba family's city gate. Tuoba Jiuxiao hesitated for a moment, and said with a hoarse voice, "Let them in. Pass down the order. Everyone is to prepare for battle. From today onwards, no one is allowed to leave the Tuoba family. Anyone who enters has to get my permission." "I don't think that's necessary. Once her body is formed, let Long Songhai take the dragon spirit away immediately. This hot potato can't be left in the Tuoba family. We don't need to participate in the battle between the two factions of chaos." Tuoba Quangjuan frowned and reminded, "I'm afraid it's too late. Once her body is formed, peerless experts will come. I don't know if the overgods will appear, but there will be many people with cultivation like mine." Tuoba Jiuxiao understood the value of the primal chaos dragon's origin. Even if he did not have the dragon bloodline, he would be a giant dragon as long as he refined it. A primal chaos dragon. One of the overgods. The quintessence of a overgod was not cultivated, but gathered from the origin. A giant dragon's origin could create a overgod's quintessence. This origin was too terrifying. Among the 10 great physiques, except for the first 2 and the 9 revolution chaos Tao body, the others were only overgods. However, a primal chaos dragon was a overgod. After the first generation primal chaos dragon died, the quintessence dissipated and turned into an inheritance of the quintessence. Once it was gathered again, it would gradually condense again as the dragon spirit's realm rose. In the entire Chaosverse, there were only 21 overgods. No matter how strong someone was, they would not be able to condense a quintessence. They could only obtain a overgod's quintessence by fighting for it. Tuoba Quangjuan had no choice but to go to the periphery and lure Long Songhai and Shui Wuhan in. Long Songhai was a majestic man in his 40s. He was tall and sturdy, with a square face and ink-black hair. He must have been a peerless hero when he was young, but now he was very nervous. "Tuoba family head, what's going on? How could Ling awaken the giant dragon's bloodline origin?" Long Songhai was very nervous, fearing that Shui Yuner would misunderstand. "It's Yi Qinghan. He's the one who stimulated the dragon genes hidden in the dragon spirit's body. By chance, he unlocked the dragon bloodline's origin. He's currently in the process of forming his body. Just wait for a while. However, this old man will tell you in advance that once the formation is complete, you must take her and flee as far as possible. You must not let the experts find you. Abandoning the Long family is imperative. You can dismiss the Long family right now and let them join a family or power you can trust," Tuoba Jiuxiao said in a low voice. Long Songhai understood how terrifying the primal chaos dragon's origin was. It represented the inheritance of the first-generation primal chaos dragon. It would be light if the entire Clear God continent was caught in the flames of war. If this spread to the upper plains, the Sisui continent would definitely be destroyed. Chapter 793. After confirming that Dragon Spirit had indeed awakened the Chaos Dragon bloodline, Long Songhai cried tears of joy. This was the only time in his life that he would cry. After a long time, he finally calmed down and remembered Yi Qinghan. He asked, "Who is Yi Qinghan? How come I've never heard of this name?" Shui Wuhan rolled her eyes and coldly said, I really don't know what kind of family head you are. Why don't you care about current affairs at all? Didn't Divine Tool Sect announce that they had accepted a young honorary deacon? Isn't that Yi Qinghan? Yes, it's him. He has a very pure dragon bloodline in his body. Although it's not a dragon bloodline, his bloodline may be even purer than your dragon bloodline. It was a drop of his blood essence that stimulated the dragon bloodline source in Sister Ling Er's body. Shui Yuner quickly said, This old man really has to thank him. He changed the Long family's fate and changed the Long family's situation. Where is he? Long Songhai asked excitedly. Uncle Long, he is helping Ling Er form a golden dragon body. Ling Er's body is too weak. I can't help her, so I can only ask him. Tuoba Xianxian bowed. Ling Er is so lucky to have friends like you. But can this Yi Qinghan be trusted? What if he takes the opportunity? Long Songhai asked awkwardly. Don't worry, he is my friend. I trust him. Besides, this giant dragon bloodline origin was awakened by him. Even if he takes it away, you shouldn't say anything. Tuoba Xianxian said in a deep voice. She couldn't bear to see others not trusting Yi Qinghan. Long Songhai smiled. Within the flames, Yi Qinghan and Dragon Spirit's blood actually fused through their skin. Yi Qinghan's essence blood was also evolving. Perhaps there was a cause and effect. This was the great Tao of karma. With effort comes reward. The two's bloodlines were connected. Yi Qinghan closed his eyes and felt his blood rapidly evolving into a giant dragon bloodline. Even without the Chaos Dragon bloodline origin, it is still a level stronger than before. Boom boom boom. His blood roared and boiled like 10,000 horses galloping. His black hair fluttered without wind. Yi Qinghan pressed his palms against his massive chest. He found it difficult to control his hands, but his heart was as calm as still water. He didn't have any evil thoughts as he continued to help the dragon spirit forge its body. After 2 days, he began to forge its head, the dragon's brain. This was the most difficult stage. If he wasn't careful, he could destroy Long Ling's physical body, crush her godhead, and kill her soul. The golden dragon godhead formed on its own. It was completely different from other godheads. It had its own profound laws and great Tao. Its veins and patterns were also fundamentally different from Yi Qinghan's dragon godhead. As for the specific effects, only the dragon spirit knew. Put your soul into your dragon godhood, and don't let it out. No matter what happens, just stay in there quietly. Yi Qinghan opened his eyes, looked directly at the dragon spirit, and spoke in a low voice. The dragon spirit's life was now completely in Yi Qinghan's hands. She trusted him, and felt that no one could make her safer than Yi Qinghan. Once she put her soul into the dragon godhead and ignored the outside world, it was the same as handing her body over to Yi Qinghan. No matter what he did, she wouldn't know until Yi Qinghan woke her up. But she didn't hesitate to do so. As soon as her soul entered the dragon godhead, the dragon spirit fell into a deep sleep. Yi Qinghan carefully modified every meridian, cell, and even a strand of hair in the dragon spirit's head. The brain was the most fragile part. Yi Qinghan even gave up on evolving his own blood and focused on strengthening her brain. He didn't make any changes, only strengthening it over and over again. With the slightest change, the dragon spirit wouldn't be able to control her body. After 3 whole days, the dragon spirit's body was finally completed. Yi Qinghan's godhead was almost completely exhausted. Yi Qinghan waved his hand, and the surrounding flames rushed into the clouds, enveloping the two of them. Put on your clothes. First, comprehend the inheritance the Chaos bloodline gave you. With that, Yi Qinghan sat cross-legged on the ground and began to absorb the God Force within the God crystals. He recovered his God Force while evolving his bloodline. But without contact with the dragon spirit, the bloodline's evolution was too slow. It was so slow that it was negligible. Yi Qinghan could only swallow a large number of God pills to recover his God Force. He wasted hundreds of God pills and thousands of top-grade God crystals to fill up the 12 Godheads. Getting up, Yi Qinghan found the dragon spirit wearing a purple robe staring at him. Her eyes were very pure, without any distracting thoughts. There was only deep gratitude. Raise your hands and face me, Yi Qinghan said calmly. The dragon spirit didn't ask. She stretched out her jade arms and spread her slender fingers slightly. She didn't know what Yi Qinghan wanted to do. Yi Qinghan's large hands clasped the dragon spirit's 10 fingers and took the initiative to absorb the dragon blood in her body. He found that it was still unimpeded, as if this body was his. The dragon spirit was shocked to find that her blood was actually under Yi Qinghan's control. However, she was not afraid. If Yi Qinghan wanted to harm her, he could have crushed her to death with a stretch of his hand. There was no need for him to waste so much time and specially create a body for her. With the support of the Chaos Dragon bloodline, Yi Qinghan's blood evolved rapidly. It successfully evolved into a colossal dragon bloodline that was second only to the Chaos Dragon bloodline. His physical body was refined again, and his cultivation base stabilized at perfect intermediate high god level. He was only a hair's breadth away from high-level high god level and could break through at any time. The outer walls of the Tuoba residence had collapsed, and the flames of war were everywhere. There were at least 30 half-step lords in the vicinity, but they could not do anything to the inner walls of the Tuoba residence. Rainbow runes emanated from the inner walls like divine weapons. As long as the enemy attacked, the runes would counterattack. However, the Tuoba residence on the outer perimeter was completely annihilated. Tuoba Jiuxiao was livid. The current situation was not much different from what he had imagined. Although the outer formation was powerful, it could not withstand the attacks of so many half-step lords. Most of them were strangers. He had no idea where so many half-step lords had come from. There were also some half-step lords from Sisui continent. They were either clan masters, sect masters, or terrifying independent cultivators. They wandered around the Tuoba residence's outer perimeter fearlessly. Their motives were self-evident. It was impossible to hide the colossal dragon bloodline's origin. After the dragon spirit bloodline was activated, the origins might had already spread. Tuoba Jiuxiao, open the city gates and hand her over. I won't make things difficult for the Tuoba family. An old man who had been through the vicissitudes of life had the demeanor of a transcendent being. He seemed amiable, but he was ruthless when it came to killing. If he had not been worried about incurring public wrath, he might have razed the Tuoba main city to the ground, let alone the Tuoba family's collateral forces. Tuoba Jiuxiao's face turned purple. If he opened the city gates now, not only would he offend the Shui and Long clans, but he would also benefit these bastards. They had killed millions of collateral clan members. You bastards, you've razed my clan's collateral clan without even asking. Now you're asking me to open the city gates. Do you think there's no one left in the Tuoba bloodline? I'll protect this colossal dragon bloodline for sure. I'll guarantee her safety for the rest of her life. She'll avenge my clan. Tuoba Jiuxiao roared fiercely, enraged. Long Songhai only breathed a sigh of relief after Tuoba Jiuxiao declared his stance. If Tuoba Jiuxiao could not withstand the pressure and kicked him and Long Songhai out of the Tuoba residence, he alone would not be able to protect Long Songhai no matter what. Yi Qinghan had no idea that Long Songhai's bloodline possessed the origin of the first-generation Chaos Colossal Dragon, nor did he know that he had attracted countless powerhouses at the moment. He also did not know that An Xian had told Jiuyin Fort's chief manager, who was his father, about him activating Long Songhai's dragon spirit bloodline. His father had even gathered several half-step lords to descend on the Tuoba residence's outer perimeter. Chapter 794. The Tuoba family was in trouble. Powerhouses were everywhere, and no one dared to speak unless they were half-step lords. Yi Qinghan and Long Ling arrived at the city wall and looked at the collapsed perimeter. Countless powerhouses had descended upon the city, and a primeval aura filled the air as if an era had arrived. Half-step lords were everywhere, and they were shocked. After Tuoba Xuanxuan's explanation, Yi Qinghan finally understood that what he had activated was not some colossal dragon bloodline, but an existence with the Chaos Colossal Dragon's origin. Perhaps no one would dare to touch her if she was in defiant clouds. Unfortunately, she was born in the wrong family. She was born in the Long family, and the Long family could not protect her. Gradually, almost all the powerhouses of Sisui Dimension had arrived. including the sect master of Divine Weapon sect. Even the factions from the Chaos era began to appear. The Witch Tribes faction and the Great Demon Gods faction were low-level existences, but they were still very powerful in this era. Tuoba Quangjuan looked at Tuoba Jiuxiao, hoping that he would change his mind. The Tuoba family should not have interfered in this matter at all. The price was too high. There was still room for negotiation now. As long as Long Zonghai and Long Ling were expelled, the Tuoba family could stay out of this. However, was there really any room for retreat now? Once the city gates were opened and the formation defense was abandoned, these powerhouses could raze this ancient giant city to the ground in an instant. Boom, there was a loud bang, and a figure sped over from afar. He reached out and suppressed a half-step lord, crushing his body. Even his godhead could not escape. Hiss! Everyone gasped and turned to look at the newcomer. The newcomer was a middle-aged man in a cloud robe with a cloud embroidered on his shoulder. The cloud was even drifting as if it was real. It was impossible for anyone who had been in Sisui Dimension for many years not to recognize this person. He was a high-ranking member of Defiant Clouds, the #1 organization in Sisui Dimension. This person was called Ni Shuayun, and he was ranked 3rd in Defiant Clouds. On the surface, he was also ranked 5th in Sisui Dimension. One could imagine how many powerhouses Defiant Clouds had hidden. Ni Shuayun looked down at everyone, and his eyes swept across the crowd. A disdainful sneer appeared at the corner of his lips as he said coldly, "Do you think the Chaos Colossal Dragon's bloodline origin is something that children like you can meddle with? Get lost." The pressure was monstrous as Ni Shuayun's aura rushed out in defiance of the heavens, sweeping through all the heroes in the heavens. Even Yi Qinghan, who was standing on the city wall and protected by the array formation, felt the pressure multiply. This was the first time Yi Qinghan had seen such an expert. Perhaps it was because Nine Nether had never been angry, otherwise, he would have been able to feel the same pressure. However, no one retreated. Not a single person retreated. It wasn't that they didn't want to give Ni Shuayun face, nor was it that they didn't want to give Ni Yunduan face. It was just that the Primal Chaos Dragon's origin involved too many things. It involved the war between the sorcerer race and the great demonic god's bloodline. It even involved the supreme godhead. Just Ni Yunduan's top 3 experts weren't enough to suppress these people. This matter has nothing to do with you, Ni Yunyun. Ni Yunyun, don't get involved in the war between the Witch Tribe and the great demonic god's bloodline. Otherwise, the tyrannical Ni Yunyun will be annihilated in an instant. It was at this moment that the old master of Divine Artifact sect stepped forward. His aura was no weaker than Ni Shuayun's. True experts were beginning to show themselves. Ni Shuayun frowned. Divine Artifact sect didn't show itself, but no one dared to offend them. Even Ni Yunyun had to give them face because in the Chaos era, Divine Artifact sect was at its peak. As the saying went, a starving camel was still bigger than a horse. No matter how far it had fallen, it wasn't something that the forces of this era could provoke. This is no longer the Chaos era. I, Ni Yunyun, have the final say in Sisui realm, said Ni Shuayun coldly. The battle physique is about to appear, and the Chaos era is coming. If you take action today, it means that Ni Yunyun is participating in the war between the two factions. When the time comes, it doesn't matter whether you take sides or not. You'll just be cannon fodder. Everything I say is true. Believe me or not, but if you insist on interfering, I won't say anything more, said the old master calmly. Many people were disdainful. What kind of force could annihilate Ni Yunyun, who was at the peak of his power? Perhaps only these decadent clans would dare to say such frightening words because of their ancient heritage. Ni Yunyun laughed evilly. Of course, he did not believe it either. However, Yi Qinghan believed him, because he had seen the second sorcerer god before. Although he did not understand this level of combat, he knew that compared to the second sorcerer god, killing these people was as easy as waving his hand. Ni Yunduan will not give up on the Chaos Dragon origin. In 2 days, my first elder and second elder will appear at the same time. If you don't agree, you can try. I want to see what kind of power can annihilate me, Ni Yunduan. Ni Shueyun didn't argue with the old sect master but didn't care about his words either. Ah, I'm Taoist Jioshan. I've lived in the Sisui realm for so many years, spanning several eras. How can I only talk big? I've seen too many master gods hiding everywhere, waiting for the right opportunity. How many master gods can you have in the anti-cloud realm? Taoist Jioshan sighed. How many overgods had come to divine artifact sect in order to forge overgod weapons? How many overgods had chosen to lie low and wait for chaos to descend? And how many overgods had fought in the dark without the mortals seeing? Ants would never see a master god fighting because they weren't qualified. They were mocking the existence of such an existence. Ignorance made people brave. Apart from the lofty master gods, Taoist Jioshan was the only one who truly understood the world. Not even Nine Nether could reach that level because master gods needed divine artifact sect to forge overgod weapons. Even if divine artifact sect couldn't forge overgod weapons right now, master gods wouldn't offend them. They would even protect divine artifact sect because divine artifact sect would be able to forge overgod weapons sooner or later. A master god without a master god weapon was definitely no match for a master god who had one. A master god weapon could increase a master god's strength by 50%. 50% was unimaginable. No matter how profound a master god's understanding of the profound laws or the origin of the great Tao was, they couldn't exceed 50% of a master god's combat power. There was no difference between master gods and master gods. The slightest carelessness could lead to death. Everyone, as long as you give me face and let me take the dragon spirit, divine artifact sect will owe you a favor in the future. Taoist Jioshan said in a low voice. On the surface, divine artifact sect was the representative of the sorcerer gods faction. They had the right to make such a promise. Old Taoist Jioshan, you're not dead yet. As long as I'm here today, you won't be able to take the dragon spirit away. She must die here. Moreover, her origin will be destroyed. A black shadow covered the sky. His might was so great that some of the half-step lords were forced to retreat. Another invincible expert had arrived. Even Ni Shueyun's expression changed at this moment. He had thought that he could really be ranked in the top 5 of Si Shui, but two people who could stand shoulder to shoulder with him had appeared in an instant. Demon Fiend was the representative of the great demonic gods faction. As long as he and Taoist Jioshan didn't emerge victorious, the master gods behind them wouldn't appear. Taoist Jioshan sighed. He knew that today's matter couldn't be resolved peacefully. If he had come earlier to take the dragon spirit away, he might have been able to protect her and the Chaos Dragon bloodline origin. However, it was very difficult now. Yi Qinghan's expression turned extremely ugly as well. He hadn't expected that chaos would come before he had even grown up. Tuoba Jiuxiao regretted his participation in this matter. The Tuoba family couldn't take it anymore and finally compromised. He said to the crowd, as long as you retreat 1,500 kilometers away from the Tuoba family's main city, I'll send the two from the Long family and Yi Qinghan out of the city. The Tuoba family won't interfere in your quarrels. If you don't compromise, then let's just wait. I believe that the Tuoba family's primordial city can withstand all of your combined attacks for at least 3 years. Chapter 795. When Tuoba Jiuxiao decided not to participate, the 5 elders of the Tuoba family stood in a row, hoping that Long Tsanghai and Shui Wuhan would respect the Tuoba family's decision. Tuoba Xuanxuan's expression changed slightly, and she begged softly, Grandpa, this has nothing to do with Yi Qinghan. You don't understand. Yi Qinghan can activate the Chaos Dragon's bloodline origin, so he'll be the target of both camps. There's no difference between keeping him and keeping Dragon Spirit. Don't gamble with your family's legacy. Tuoba Jiuxiao said firmly. Although Long Tsanghai could understand Tuoba Jiuxiao's decision, if it were him, he would not give up his family's legacy for another tribe's top genius. The city wall would fall sooner or later, so there was no difference whether it fell sooner or later. Yi Qinghan, I'm sorry for dragging you into this, Long Tsanghai said with a bitter smile. Yi Qinghan shook his head. Everything in the world had karma. If it weren't for his benevolence, the blood in Long Ling's body wouldn't have been stimulated. However, everything had its own will. Two people who shouldn't have crossed paths had bumped into each other. This was an illusory fate. It's all right. Let's leave it to fate, Yi Qinghan said calmly. Perhaps he was the only one who could remain so calm in the face of so many powerhouses. Shui Wuhan's expression was terrible, and she said with a bitter smile, "Brother Canghai, please forgive me for my selfishness. I can't accompany you out of the city today. However, if you die in battle, I can at least preserve some of the Long family's bloodline. We won't be wiped out." "That's enough, please." Long Canghai was very grateful. This promise was better than Shui Wuhan going out with him to his death. Two half-step lords who could not even make it into the rankings would definitely die if they went out. They would not be able to do anything. Since Demon Fiend and Ni Shuiyun had agreed to retreat, Daoist Jioshan could only agree. Now, they could only wait for the two main characters, Yi Qinghan and Long Ling, to appear. One side would fight while the other would kill. Once Demon Fiend succeeded, this battle might end prematurely. If Daoist Jioshan succeeded, it would be an endless pursuit. All the experts retreated 3,000 miles away from the main city. The reason why Taoba Jioxiao wanted to maintain this distance was clearly not to buy time for Yi Qinghan, but to give the Taoba family time to activate the defensive formation again. Yi Qinghan, Long Ling, and Long Canghai appeared at the city gate and waited for it to open. Long Canghai instantly became much older. He looked at Long Ling helplessly, stroked her head, and said in pain, "Ling, it's all father's fault for not being able to protect you." Long Ling felt a lump in her throat. She regretted asking Yi Qinghan for his blood essence. However, she had only hoped to become stronger and protect the Long family. She had never thought that she would bring the Long family to eternal damnation. "Father, I'm sorry. I didn't know things would turn out this way." Although Long Ling possessed the Chaos Dragon bloodline origin, she had yet to cultivate the secret skill inheritance. Her ability was too weak, and she had little combat experience. At the moment, her physique was even worse than an ordinary person's. She was helpless in this situation. Long Canghai turned his head to look at Yi Qinghan. His fingertips were trembling as he said hoarsely, "Yi Qinghan, seeing how calm you are, you must have a way to protect yourself. I'm willing to sacrifice myself to buy you 5 breaths of time. Please take Linger with you and escape. The great demon god's representative won't let you go anyway. You'll still be escaping if you run, so taking Ling with you shouldn't affect your speed. Is that okay?" Self-destruction. He had said it without hesitation and was not afraid of death. This was the great love of a father. He only hoped that Long Ling would have a glimmer of hope to escape. Yi Qinghan smiled bitterly. The reason why he was so calm was that he knew there was no hope, so he faced it calmly. Faced with so many powerhouses, unless he was a half-step lord, there was no way he could escape at all. Why should he put on a useless and pitiful act? "I'm not confident. Whether I take Long Ling or not, it won't affect me at all. However, I know that my chances of escaping are less than 10%. It might even be less than 10%. At most, there's only a 1% chance," Yi Qinghan said helplessly. "Having hope is better than having no hope at all. I'll self-destruct to create a gap for you and give you another chance. I only ask that you don't give up on Ling's life unless you have no other choice. Is that okay?" Long Canghai pleaded in a low voice. "Sure. I told you that taking her with me won't affect my speed. As long as I can escape, she won't die," Yi Qinghan agreed with a nod. "Daddy, sob, what should I do? I don't want you to die. I don't want you to self-destruct. If you're gone, who's going to love me?" Long Ling cried bitterly. She held onto Long Canghai tightly and refused to let go. "You have the Chaos Dragon bloodline. You're a Chaos Dragon now. You should be strong and try your best to survive. Avenge me and your people. Do you understand?" Long Canghai said in a low voice. Yi Qinghan said nothing. Instead, he tapped the back of Long Ling's neck with a finger directly. She fainted right away and fell into his arms. He picked up the seemingly boneless Long Ling and said softly, "Rest in peace, Senior. If I manage to escape, naturally, it's because your self-destruction has given me a chance to live. I can't promise you anything else, but at least I can keep her safe for the rest of her life. Thank you. Long Songhai bowed deeply. Creak, the city gate opened. There was only a small gap, which was enough for two people to walk side by side. Long Songhai and Yi Qinghan stepped out of the Tuoba residence's city gate together with Long Ling. The city gate closed immediately, and the formation activated immediately, leaving them no room at all. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan placed Long Ling on his back and tied her to his back with the God-whipping whip. He held Berserk in his hand and summoned the Golden Crow. He said in a low voice, "Prepare for battle. Today, I'm going to burn 80,000 miles and kill anyone who gets in my way." The little Golden Crow had broken through. It had devoured the fire spirit and successfully mastered a rank 16 divine fire. That was a flame that could burn a half-step lord. Even Taoist Jioshan of the divine weapon sect could not master a rank 16 divine fire. One could only imagine the power of such a flame. This was the 10% chance that Yi Qinghan had mentioned. Yi Qinghan was augmented with a rank 16 fire origin. In addition to Long Songhai's self-destruction, their chances of escaping were increased to 20%. As long as they could break out of the encirclement, they would be free to fly. Then, they would begin a life of endless escape. They must not show themselves. This group of half-step lords was not like Zi Chongyun and the rest. They would not stand a chance at all. The two of them soared into the air and charged out of the main city, taking the initiative to charge forward. Nobody moved. They were surrounded by powerhouses everywhere. The three of them could not escape. Devil Fiend was confident of this, so he did not move at all. Since Devil Fiend did not move, Taoist Jioshan naturally would not move. Nishui Yun did not move either. They were all waiting. Basically, whoever made the first move now would be attacked by the group. Since this group of desperados had dared to snatch the Chaos Dragon's origin, they had not considered that both camps would want to go into hiding as soon as possible after obtaining the origin. They would only reappear after becoming lords. At that moment, a figure descended from the sky. This person wore a suit of golden battle armor and held a golden battle spear in his hand. Everyone gasped when he appeared because he was so young, just like an 18 or 19-year-old teenager. Most importantly, he was not among the top 5 of the younger generation in Sisui realm. Atlas Spear. He has the Atlas Combat Constitution. Taoist Jioshan blurted out. His expression changed drastically. Chapter 796. Taoist Jioshan blurted out the Atlas Combat Constitution, shocking everyone. Even Devil Fiend was stunned. Among the 10 Chaos Combat Constitutions, those who could be called Combat Constitutions were naturally the backbone of the two camps. They were people who could influence the outcome of a battle. The Atlas Combat Constitution ranked 10th. Although it was ranked 10th in terms of combat strength, the Atlas Combat Constitution ranked first among those of the same level apart from the Supreme Gods and the other 9 combat constitutions. No matter how powerful a lord was, they would not be able to withstand a single blow from it. The Atlas Combat Constitution was very young. He looked like he was only 18 or 19 years old, but his cultivation base was at high-level high god. His cold eyes froze time and space, suppressing half-step lords to the point that they dared not speak. This was absolute strength. Yi Qinghan's expression changed. The Atlas Combat Constitution was one of the top powerhouses of the great demon god bloodline. He did not expect this inheritance to appear now. Stop the Atlas Combat Constitution. I'll take care of the rest, Yi Qinghan reminded in a deep voice. Long Songhai immediately knew that the Atlas Combat Constitution was a variable that rendered his self-destruction useless. However, Yi Qinghan would not have been able to escape if Long Songhai had not self-destructed. The Atlas Combat Constitution alone was enough to keep him here. "Welcome, Lord Atlas," Devil Fiend said respectfully. Atlas Combat Constitution stepped forward with his spear in hand, not even looking at Devil Fiend. Apart from lords, no one else could catch the eye of the Atlas Combat Constitution. Once he became a lord, other lords would not be a threat to him. "Give me the dragon spirit and I'll grant you an intact corpse," Atlas Combat said coldly as he stared straight at Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan narrowed his eyes at Atlas Combat Constitution. He knew that he was no match for him unless he became a high-level high god and used all his strength. Only then would he be able to fight him to a draw. Under such circumstances, he would definitely die. Yi Qinghan scanned his surroundings, looking for a weak point and preparing to break out of the encirclement. At that moment, there was no way out. His front, back, left, and right were all sealed. "Are you ready?" Yi Qinghan asked Long Tsunghai telepathically. "I'm ready. You can get ready to break out at any time. I'll cooperate with you." Long Tsunghai gave up completely. He was definitely going to die today. "Then let's move. I'll break out from the right. You block Sky Pillar." Before Yi Qinghan could finish his sentence, he stomped on the ground and rushed to the right. The right side was the weakest. There was no upstream cloud, no existence like Taoist Jioshan and Devil Fiend. The little golden crow's mouth of fire covered the entire space and time. Through the origin of fire, Yi Qinghan stirred up the flames and blasted them in all directions. Even half-step lords would have to stay away from a rank 16 flame. One of the half-step lords with a weaker cultivation base was engulfed as soon as he came into contact with the rank 16 flames. There was no way to destroy him. He howled in agony and roared madly. In a short while, he turned into a wisp of ash and scattered with the wind. The second half-step lord was tainted by the origin of fire as he tried to stop Yi Qinghan forcefully. Sensing that something was amiss, he soared into the clouds and bellowed, "That's a rank 16 divine fire." When everyone heard that, they fled madly, not daring to stop him at all. Yi Qinghan seized the opportunity to break out of the encirclement. Together with the Pishio, he mobilized the spatial order and vanished in a flash. "Who dares come here?" Just as everyone was about to give chase, Long Tsunghai mobilized his divine power and devoured divine pills like a madman. The divine power in his body was no longer under his control. However, he continued to absorb divine power and was about to self-destruct. At that moment, the Atlas Combat Constitution's spear pierced through the void as fast as lightning. Without giving Long Tsunghai a chance to self-destruct, the spear pierced through Long Tsunghai's head and plucked out his godhead. Long Tsunghai's body, which was about to self-destruct, shriveled rapidly like a deflated balloon. This was the power of the 10 combat constitutions. How dare an ant offend a god? The Atlas Combat Constitution snorted coldly and shattered Long Tsunghai's godhead. Then he hurled his spear directly in the direction Yi Qinghan had fled. The void shattered continuously and the spatial order distorted. It was trying to smash Yi Qinghan out of the alternate dimension. The power of this attack covered more than 5,000 kilometers. It ignored time and space and stabbed at Yi Qinghan's back in the blink of an eye. It was the Lord's weapon, the Atlas Combat Spear. It was unstoppable. Yi Qinghan's hair stood on end. He was far slower than the combat spear. All he could do was swing his sword backward and strike the Atlas Combat Spear squarely. Boom! The two attacks surged into the galaxy and across the surface of the water. Yi Qinghan coughed up blood and flew backward. The web between his thumb and forefinger was torn, but he didn't panic. He took advantage of the momentum and disappeared again. The sky-raising battle spear was sent flying by the saber strike, flying thousands of miles away. The sky-raising battle spear was then caught by the sky-raising battle spear. At this moment, there was a look of shock in his eyes. He did not expect Yi Qinghan to be able to withstand this attack and not die. The Atlas Combat Constitution was so powerful that even Yi Qinghan's 5-elemental Taoist constitution couldn't withstand a single blow from the Atlas Combat Constitution. It was hard to imagine what the 3rd and 4th ranked Void Taoist Constitution and Ethereal Constitution would be like when they unleashed their full power. Yi Qinghan wasn't in the mood to fight. He just wanted to escape from this place as far as possible. Behind him, Taoist Jioshan was entangled by the demonic fiends. There were no more powerhouses in the Sisui realm to help Yi Qinghan. Those who chased after him were all trying to stop him. Most people began to take a detour to stop Yi Qinghan. Only a small number of people chased after him. Nishui Yun and Sky Pillar pursued Yi Qinghan in a straight line. One wanted to seize the Chaos Dragon source while the other wanted to destroy it. However, Sky Pillar wanted to destroy the source of the Chaos Dragon source. That was to kill Yi Qinghan and make the Chaos Dragon source disappear completely. To eliminate all future troubles. Yi Qinghan had used Windmark to perform stellar transposition in the Milky Way and was recognized by Qing Tian. So it's the successor of the witch tribe. Kid, you can't escape from me today. Atlas shouted. Boom, boom. Atlas kept piercing through the void and was always able to accurately find Yi Qinghan's trace. The three of them were moving as fast as they could. Yi Qinghan couldn't hide his strength anymore. He unleashed the full power of his mid-level great deity cultivation and wind mark to the limit. He constantly changed his trajectory and tore through space, trying to shake off the two powerhouses behind him. However, he couldn't shake them off. Instead, the distance between them was closing. The little golden crow turned around and spat out 2 mouthfuls of fire. It wanted to delay the two for a moment. Now, even a breath could save Yi Qinghan's life. Nishui Yun and the other powerhouses directly shattered space and caused space-time turbulence to devour the origin of fire. However, their figures paused and the distance between them increased again. Atlas was even more terrifying. He directly pierced through the void with his spear and spun in the void at high speed. He passed through the flames without any hindrance to his speed. Damn it, how can these two be so fast? The divine bird grabbed Yi Qinghan's shoulder and flashed. It wanted to kill the two of them. Find a way to shake them off. Yi Qinghan's brain was working at high speed. He kept looking and listening while carrying the dragon spirit on his back. Chapter 797. Yi Qinghan was in pursuit, while Qing Tian and Denai Shuyan were in hot pursuit. Countless half-step lords surrounded them from the sides while the half-step lords took detours to block the various exits. Now, they were hoping that Yi Qinghan would catch up to them, kill Yi Qinghan, seize the origin, and leave. They would flee to remote villages until they mastered the supreme godhead. Everyone wanted to take a gamble. If they gambled right, they would enjoy eternal glory. If they gambled wrong, they would not lose anything. With such a gambler's mentality, Yi Qinghan was completely at a loss as to where there was a way out and where there was a way out. There was no place to stand in the vast Zisui River. Yi Qinghan had no other choice but to flee now. Moreover, he had to flee with dragon spirit. The people behind him could catch up with him while he unlocked the god's metal chains. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Yi Qinghan slashed several times consecutively, slashing through the shackles and crushing the space behind him, blocking his escape route. He kept leaping in the void to prevent the two behind him from catching his tracks. The three of them formed a triangle, leaving 3 trails of flames in the void and illuminating the galaxy for thousands of kilometers. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. There were tens of thousands of them. Yi Qinghan was forced to use the god's chaos origin. A massive amount of divine power poured out, breaking through the barrier of high-level high god. His speed increased abruptly, increasing by several times. He disappeared in an instant. Qing Tian and Denai Shuyun grunted at the same time. They each used their secret techniques, doubling the consumption of their divine power. Their speed was pushed to the limit. Yin and Yang reversed, and time and space flowed backward. Such secret techniques consumed their divine power too quickly. The two of them would not use them unless they had no other choice. Once their divine power was depleted, they would be in grave danger. Now Yi Qinghan had forced them to use it. Even though Yi Qinghan had broken through, he dared not stay behind to fight the two of them. It would be good enough if he could fight one of them until both sides were injured. Moreover, he knew that he was no match for either of them. Whooshed up the space before them collapsed. Black vortexes appeared one after another like black holes. As they chased each other, the three of them ran out of dozens of major cities' territories for 3 days and nights. Ooh! Nishui Yun and Sky High's faces were flushed red. Their god power began to falter and they were panting. However, Yi Qinghan was like a madman. He only cared about escaping. Although his god power speed was not as fast as before, he was still holding on. Qing Tian had never seen anyone use their divine power to the point of vomiting. It was the same for Ni Shuiyun. Yi Qinghan's divine power seemed to be inexhaustible, and his body would not tire. No half-step lord would be able to endure running at this speed for 3 days and 3 nights. Fuck? Are you two bastards done yet? Why are you chasing us? The divine bird roared. It was scared witless from being chased by these two experts. Die for me. Enai Shuiyun was flustered and exasperated. He shattered the void with his palm and directly smashed towards Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan, you can't escape. Why struggle? In order to conserve his god power, Sky High had stopped attacking. In the past 3 days, he had unleashed more than 30 spear attacks. However, he had not caused any damage to Yi Qinghan. Instead, he had wasted a lot of energy. Yi Qinghan did not reply. It was better to run a little longer than to talk nonsense with them. However, the divine bird was willing to talk nonsense with them. Its sharp claws tightened around Yi Qinghan and it roared to the rear, "You two little bastards, how obedient! Hurry up and chase after them." Sky High and Enai Shuiyun were furious. The divine bird had been chattering nonstop along the way. Apart from cursing, there was nothing good or bad about it. "You two old bastards, this divine bird will let you have a pair of wings. If you catch up to me, I'll acknowledge you as my grandsons," the divine bird mocked loudly. Sky High was furious. He channeled his god power into his spear and shook the heavens. The golden Atlas battle spear destroyed everything in its path. It blasted towards Yi Qinghan with the power to destroy heaven and earth. Yi Qinghan's figure plunged rapidly into the ground. Through Earth origin and stellar transposition, he appeared thousands of miles away and dodged the fatal blow. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan did not continue to hide underground. Instead, he ran into the sky and said to the divine bird, "Continue to provoke them. Make them attack and exhaust their strength." The divine bird heard this and immediately put in more effort. It shouted, "Grandsons, is this all you've got? What bullshit 10 great physiques? You're not even qualified to wipe my ass." Sky High was burning with anger. He controlled the battle spear in the air and it turned into thousands of rays of divine light. It charged towards Yi Qinghan and surrounded him. This attack had exhausted all of his god power. 10-direction seal. 10-direction protection. Yi Qinghan channeled Sorcerer Origin into the 10-direction seal and activated the Master God Artifact's power. It protected his body and allowed the battle spear to strike him. Boom! The battle spear and the 10-direction seal collided. It was deafening, and the aftermath shattered everything in all directions. Thud, thud, thud. Yi Qinghan held the 10-direction seal and was pushed back a few thousand meters. However, he managed to block it. His face was pale and he coughed out blood. His eyes were red. At this moment, the gap between him and Sky High was too big. He was far from being his opponent. Sky High looked at Yi Qinghan in disbelief. He had exhausted all of his god power to attack, but it did not kill Yi Qinghan. 10-direction seal. Wasn't this 10-direction seal destroyed? Sky High roared and looked at the 10-direction seal in disbelief. However, he did not know that the 10-direction seal had been repaired by the second sorcerer god. Sky High's god power was exhausted. Yi Qinghan took the attack. Instead of being shocked, he was happy. Now, only 30% of Enai Shuiyun's strength was left. At this moment, Enai Shuiyun attacked aggressively. Even 30% of his strength was not something Yi Qinghan could contend against. The will of the surroundings was controlled by him, and the space became sticky. It was impossible to tear through space. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan rushed underground again and fled with the dragon spirit. He constantly changed his position and climbed out of the ground to attract Enai Shuiyun's attacks. Boom boom boom. A mountain range was flattened by Enai Shuiyun. Yi Qinghan coughed out blood from the aftermath. His face was pale. The 12 godhoods could not withstand the consumption. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan rushed out of the ground and rose vertically. He pointed behind him and released the dragon spirit's restriction. He shouted in a low voice, "Prepare to fight. You have the bloodline of the Chaos Dragon. Don't be afraid. Their god power has been consumed. Later, you and the little golden crow will hold this old man back. I will kill this so-called Sky High." The dragon spirit trembled and asked with a crying voice, "Where is my father?" If you want to avenge him, do your best to hold Enai Shui Yun back. Remember, you are a dragon, a true chaos dragon. Yi Qinghan growled and tore the chains on his body apart. He grabbed the dragon spirit and attacked Enai Shui Yun again. Yi Qinghan mobilized the Ten-Direction seal and smashed it against his opponent's sword. He hoped to use the seal to consume the last of Enai Shui Yun's god power. Boom! The Ten-Direction seal was a lord weapon. Even if it had not been revived, it was not something that a half-step lord could destroy. Bang! The sword collided with the Ten-Direction seal. The seal did not shatter, but the divine sword in Enai Shui Yun's hand shattered. The sword turned into countless sword gleams that charged in all directions. Enai Shui Yun coughed out blood. He was dizzy from the impact of the Ten-Direction seal. He was no longer at his peak combat strength. In fact, he had less than 20% of his strength left. After the collision, he was left with less than 10%. How could he defend against such an aftermath? The divine sword shattered again. The attack hit his soul. His face was pale. His body trembled and fell from the void. Kill him! Yi Qinghan roared and tossed the dragon spirit toward Enai Shui Yun. Whoosh! Little golden crow charged out of his body and engulfed Enai Shui Yun in flames. The dragon spirit was awakened by Yi Qinghan's furious roar. It activated its giant dragon bloodline and turned into a coiling dragon. It curled its gigantic tail and covered the sky. It smashed viciously toward Enai Shui Yun, who was on the ground. Yi Qinghan charged toward the sky with his saber. His aura rose and he defied the heavens. Chapter 798. Sky-bearing hadn't expected Yi Qinghan to still have the strength to fight back, and he couldn't help but be shocked. His divine power had already been exhausted, and he hadn't had the time to recover yet. It was impossible for him to fight a monster like Yi Qinghan with just his physical strength. Yi Qinghan swooped down from the sky and swung his saber. Ripples appeared in the air as his force was activated. It was as if he was carrying the will of the great Tao and wanted to destroy Sky-bearing. Sky-bearing was shocked. He quickly swallowed a divine pill and gathered a bit of power in an extremely short time. He waved his spear and stabbed at Yi Qinghan. Boom! Although it was a short burst of power, it was enough to destroy mountains and rivers. It crashed toward Zhongquang. Boom! With a twist of his waist, Yi Qinghan unleashed his strongest power in midair and slammed it against the spear. Fight! With a roar, the sound of the collision tore through the eardrums. Yi Qinghan bled from his 7 orifices. Even his powerful 5 elemental Tao body was shattered. His dragon blood boiled, but he still could not stop himself from being defeated. His body flew into the distance like a kite with a broken string, creating a 1,000-meter deep trench in the ground. Sky-bearing's divine power was too little. It was so little that it could be ignored. He had only relied on his body's physical strength, but he had withstood half of Yi Qinghan's power. He rolled on the ground and coughed up blood. Golden blood spurted out of his body and dyed the sky-bearing spear red. The spear was revived and emitted a heaven-defying divine light that illuminated the water surface. The Master God weapon's might was vast and powerful. It crushed the shackles. Everything within 1,000 miles was suppressed by this terrifying aura and did not dare to move. Sky-bearing stood up in a panic and roared at the sky like a mad demon. His eyes were red as he stared at Yi Qinghan. He reached out to grab the sky-bearing spear and roared hoarsely, "Ant, how dare you injure my body? I'll make sure you die without a complete corpse." Yi Qinghan pierced through the mountain rock with his saber and stood up with Zhongquang. The dragon blood dyed Zhongquang red. His black hair fluttered, and his aura became stronger and stronger. His ability to use force was becoming more and more proficient. Boom! Yi Qinghan was extremely domineering. He stepped into the sky with his blade and replied hoarsely, "Today, let's see if the 10 major constitutions can kill me without divine power." Swish! Swish! Yi Qinghan formed a seal with one hand and mobilized the seal of 10 directions to charge into the sky in an attempt to restrain the heaven-raising spear. In this situation, Yi Qinghan did not have the upper hand. After all, Qing Tian was a peak high-level high god while Yi Qinghan had just broken through to high-level high god. He had not even stabilized his cultivation yet. Both of them had sovereign artifacts, but the heaven-raising spear and the heaven-raising war spear were a single entity. Yi Qinghan was still trying to figure out the peak combat power of the 10-direction seal. Atlas had his own pride, a pride that could not be insulted. Apart from the 10 great combat constitutions, he would not give it to anyone of the same rank in the world for free, including half-step lords. Whoosh! The 10 directions seal spun at high speed and shot toward Sky Pillar. Whoosh! Sky Pillar hurled his battle spear, pitting his sovereign artifact against his sovereign artifact. At his current level, he could not participate in a battle between sovereign artifacts at all. The battle spear emitted the might of a sovereign, directly cutting through the sky and splitting the plane. Everything within 10,000 miles trembled as if an earthquake was coming. The Sky Pillar clenched his iron fists and charged toward Yi Qinghan with his bare hands. Yi Qinghan had no intention of fighting a fair battle. His goal today was to crush the heaven-raising battle constitution. Yi Qinghan tightened his grip on his long sword and stomped the ground with his foot. He was as fast as lightning as he viciously hacked at Sky Pillar. Sky Pillar was even faster. He tapped the air with the tip of his foot on the gravity craze and raised his leg to kick Yi Qinghan's head. Yi Qinghan swung his saber backwards, turning it from the bottom to the top. If this saber landed, it would definitely be able to split Sky Pillar in two. Sky Pillar had no choice but to withdraw his leg. He flipped his body and dodged the gravity craze. Whoosh! Whoosh! Yi Qinghan did not allow him to rest. He attacked more than 10 times consecutively, sealing Sky Pillar and forcing him to fly backward. I'll show you what the heaven-raising battle constitution is. Sky Pillar was furious. He grabbed the gravity craze in the air and tried to snatch the blade with his bare hands. Whoosh! Whoosh! Sky Pillar's hands kept changing hand seals. His figure flashed so fast that no one could track his movements. Boom! No matter how fast Yi Qinghan's blade moved, Sky Pillar could always track it. His left hand's 5 fingers gripped the tip of the gravity craze's blade tightly. His body stuck close to the gravity craze as he punched toward Yi Qinghan's throat. It was said that Qin Tian's powerful body was definitely not something from the chaotic era. The wind generated by Qin Tian's fist was enough to make Yi Qinghan's expression change. Even his powerful 5 elements Taoist body and dragon bloodline couldn't withstand Qin Tian's punch. Bang! Yi Qinghan's left hand grabbed the gravity craze while his right elbow struck Sky Pillar's iron fist. There was a crisp crack. Yi Qinghan's hard elbow bone actually tore apart. However, with the support of God power, Sky Pillar's pain was indescribable. Crack! Sky Pillar's fist bone broke. His perlicue cracked. Bang! 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 Sky Pillar ignored his injuries and kicked 3 times. They were all blocked by Yi Qinghan's iron leg. Their leg bones were nearly broken. Boom! Gravity craze was sent flying by the two's explosive attacks. At this moment, they were fighting barehanded. Both of them were close combat experts. They fought back and forth, completely ignoring their injuries. However, Yi Qinghan still had God power and the support of the God-breaking gloves. Sky Pillar was forced to retreat. Yi Qinghan was bathed in flames. He attacked Sky Pillar with the 5 elements Tao body. Only then did he manage to force Sky Pillar's body back. It was clear how terrifying his body was. On the other side, the dragon spirit had transformed into a chaos dragon, and its oppressive aura made all living beings within 10,000 miles dare not move. Ni Shuiyun did not have much divine power left, and now he had to face the Chaos Dragon. His blood and chi were stagnant, and he could not use the rest of his divine power. He was sent flying tens of thousands of miles away by the dragon spirit. His divine body exploded, and his blood drowned him. Cough cough cough. Ni Shuiyun coughed out blood. His eyes were filled with blood. He had completely relied on his body to withstand the dragon spirit's peak attack. The dragon spirit now represented the giant dragon. If it was not for the fact that the dragon spirit could not use the chaos dragon's power, its tail could suppress a main god. Even the godhead could not escape. Unfortunately, the dragon spirit was too weak. Today is considered a failure. I will choose another opportunity next time. Enai Shuyan gritted his teeth and turned around. He did not use the last 10% of his strength to seize the dragon spirit's origin. Instead, he used it to protect himself. He was a smart person. Even if he obtained the dragon spirit's origin, he would not be able to enjoy it. It would only benefit others. The dragon spirit did not expect Enai Shuiyun to escape after withstanding one attack. It was stunned. But the little golden crow would not be stunned. It turned around and pounced on Qing Tian. The two main god weapons in the sky tore through time and space, reversing yin and yang. Dark clouds covered the sky and caused a phenomenon. They were evenly matched, but the 10-direction seal was at a disadvantage. The golden crow joined the battle and spat out a mouthful of fire. Even Qing Tian had to be careful of the 16th grade fire origin. He was sent flying continuously. Then, the Pishio rushed out and attacked Qing Tian from all directions. No matter how strong his body was, he could not withstand such consumption. He was exhausted. He knew that there was no chance to kill Yi Qinghan now. Even if he used the battle spear to kill Yi Qinghan, he could not escape. Someone would definitely take the opportunity to kill him. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan, you are dead. I will cut off your head within 3 months. Qing Tian flew into the sky and took control of the heaven-raising battle spear. He left a ruthless sentence and directly disappeared into the void. Chapter 799. Although Sky Pillar had escaped, Yi Qinghan didn't feel the slightest bit of joy. He had finally experienced the terror of the so-called 10 great physiques. No wonder the second sorcerer god wanted to kill him. When Wenyan matured, would he really be able to suppress him? Yi Qinghan remained silent for a moment. He retracted berserk and allowed the golden crow and the other divine beasts to enter his body. Looking at the helpless appearance of the dragon spirit, he recalled how Long Tsanghai wanted to create an opportunity for him to escape even though he knew he was going to die. It was hard for his Dao heart to accept letting her go now. Come with me. We can't stay in the Sisui plain any longer. I will send you to a safe place. Yi Qinghan spoke in a heavy voice. Yi Qinghan stretched out his hand and grabbed the dragon spirit. Their silhouettes flickered as they disappeared. The entire plain was in an uproar. Sky Pillar and Nishui Yun had joined forces to chase after Yi Qinghan and the dragon spirit. Who would have thought that not only would they fail, they would even be injured? Was Yi Qinghan that strong? Tuoba Jiuxiao was dumbfounded. If he was in Yi Qinghan's shoes, he wouldn't be able to do this either. What did Yi Qinghan have? Taoist Jiushan also didn't expect Yi Qinghan to be able to escape with the dragon spirit. He couldn't imagine what method Yi Qinghan used to force the two experts to retreat. The secret behind this was probably only known by the few of them involved. Sky Pillar had a look of anger on his face. One of the 10 great physiques actually couldn't defeat Yi Qinghan. This time, everyone knew about it. Even the overgods came to ask about the situation. The Sky Pillar had become a laughingstock. Enai Yun Duan's face was also ugly. Nishui Yun, who was known as the number 3 major power in the Sisui plain, had personally made a move. In the end, he was injured and had to flee. This was an unbelievable situation. No one would be able to accept it. Third brother, what happened? Could it be that Yi Qinghan is stronger than you? Enai Yun Duan's boss, the number 1 expert in the Sisui plain, looked no more than 50 years old. He had a thin body, but his body was filled with ice-cold sword aura. The inverse sword aura roared and was extremely frightening. He was called Reverse Bone Sword. This wasn't his real name, but the reverse bone sword in his hand had replaced his name. He had fought his whole life and no one could survive his reverse bone sword. Just like Li Feng, he was a legend of an era. Don't mention it. That bastard was too fast. It was as if his divine power was inexhaustible. He carried me and the Atlas battle body for 3 days and 3 nights. His spirit pet, the devouring soul parrot, had a foul mouth that made me want to kill it. In the end, he was so angry that he exhausted the divine power of the Atlas battle body and me. Who knew that Yi Qinghan would suddenly turn around and attack me? I was injured by the chaos dragon formed by the dragon spirit. With the help of his spirit pet and the 10 direction seal, Yi Qinghan could barely beat the Atlas battle body. His battle strength was a complete mess, but I still fell in his hands. Ni Shui Yun roared angrily. Reverse Bone Sword was trembling with anger. How could this person's battle strength be considered a complete mess? He exhausted the 2 top existences with his divine power and still managed to come back. You exhausted your divine power, but Yi Qinghan's battle strength wasn't exhausted? In the end, he was still able to stand shoulder to shoulder with the Atlas battle body. How could this be considered a complete mess? Seal all of the Sisui Plains portals and checkpoints. Capture Yi Qinghan and the dragon spirit for me. Make no mistakes. Reverse Bone Sword growled. It was at this point that Ni Shui Yun's second brother, Lai Yun, walked over. He was a burly man who had been defeated by Reverse Bone Sword when he was young. The 2 of them had worked together to conquer this world, and their cultivation bases were unfathomable. They had only lost to Reverse Bone Sword once in their lives. Boss, I'm afraid the Chaos Dragon's essence won't be easy to get. It's a hot potato, and it'll drag Ni Shui Yun down with it. As long as I become a overgod, I can create the most powerful Ni Shui Yun in all of time. You'll be the strongest overgods in the world. As the saying goes, a horse won't get fat without eating grass at night, and a man won't get rich without a windfall. If we really want to defy the heavens, we have to be qualified, and a paramount godhood is the only qualification we have. For a paramount godhood, I'm willing to give up Ni Shui Yun, Reverse Bone Sword said firmly. Very well. We'll split up and capture Yi Qinghan and Long Ling. Once we succeed, we'll gather at the same place and leave Sisui realm. Lai Yun nodded and decided to give up on Ni Shui Yun. He would participate in the battle between the 2 major factions and not help anyone. He would only take advantage of the situation and seize the Chaos Dragon's essence. The Wild Sect had just been brought back by Divine Instrument Sect, and the entire Sisui realm was in chaos. Powerhouses emerged one after another, and the world thought that the old monsters who had been hiding for thousands of years were dead. However, they had reappeared and attacked mercilessly. Even the half-step overgods did not dare to act recklessly, for fear of offending Yi Gu, who had not appeared in 10,000 years. The overgods were still suppressing themselves and had not made a move. Now that the overgods were about to appear, chaos would ensue. Divine Instrument Sect and Divine Fire City were occupied by the Wild Sect, and they were very close to the inner sect of Divine Instrument Sect. This was also to make it easier for Taoist Jiushan to protect the Wild Sect. The Wild Sect had yet to understand what had happened, and they were already embroiled in the flames of war. Many people were prepared to capture the Wild Sect members to force Yi Qinghan to show himself. At the moment, Emperor Yi was summoned by Taoist Jiushan, and he was meeting him in Divine Instrument Palace. You're Yi Qinghan's wife, Emperor Yi? Taoist Jiushan asked in a dignified manner. Emperor Yi nodded, not understanding what was going on. Yi Qinghan has been tainted by karma, and I'm afraid it'll affect the Wild Sect. It's best if you don't go out or separate yourselves. If you need any resources, just tell me. I'll do my best to satisfy you, Taoist Jiushan said in a deep voice. Huojun had brought the Wild Sect members here, so he had to take on the responsibility of protecting them. If Yi Qinghan was a good-for-nothing, perhaps Taoist Jiushan would not care. However, Yi Qinghan was not a good-for-nothing. He had even escaped from under the noses of so many powerhouses. If the Wild Sect were to be harmed, Divine Instrument Sect would have to take responsibility. Senior, what's wrong with my husband? What karma has he been tainted by? Emperor Yi was shocked. Even someone like Taoist Jiushan was so serious. It seemed that Yi Qinghan had caused a lot of trouble this time. Sigh, he has activated the origin of the Chaos Dragon. This is a good thing for the Sorcerer tribe, but it's a disaster for him. The Sorcerer tribe is still at a disadvantage, and the Master God will not protect him. He can only rely on himself now, Taoist Jiushan sighed. Emperor Yi returned to the territory occupied by the Wild Sect and told everyone about his current realm. Everyone tried to find joy in his misery and teased him, "Brother Yi is a jinx." Wherever he goes, there's a gust of wind. Ah, now that you mention it, my father is right. I haven't seen him idle for so many years. Yi Chen laughed. What do you know? This is called causing trouble. I'm so envious of my father. When he's escaping, he can still bring a beauty with him. I don't think he'll be lonely along the way. Yi Yun'er joked. Emperor Yi snorted and did not say much. He only restricted the juniors from leaving the inner sect without permission. Divine Instrument sect was a giant after all. They were also the representatives of the sorcerer tribe. Even the devilish would not dare to attack them. They were safe in Divine Flame City. Yi Qinghan was currently hiding deep within a mountain with the dragon spirit. He was trying to figure out a safe place to send the dragon spirit to. The path to the artifact sect must have been blocked, and going back would be like walking right into a trap. However, there was nowhere for them to set foot in this vast and boundless world. Chapter 800. White clouds, blue sky, deep mountains, and ferocious beasts roaring from time to time, shaking the mountains. Yi Qinghan stared at the mountains and rivers, remaining silent for a long time. Dragon Spirit did not dare to speak either. She had no experience traveling the world, and Shui Yun'er had always been the one to take her everywhere. Once no one took her, she would be like a headless fly. I can't stay in the Sisui realm any longer. I'll rest for the day and leave at night. I'll go to the subsidiary realm of the Sisui realm, the Gaussian realm. This realm is connected to several small realms. I can attack and escape from it. Yi Qinghan looked at the star map and studied all the realms near the Sisui realm. Only the Gaussian realm was the most suitable, so he said to Dragon Spirit, I'll do as you say. Dragon Spirit had no objections. Yi Qinghan frowned. It would be difficult for her to take on the Chaos Dragon's origin, but since the Chaos Dragon's origin was attached to her, it must be God's will. He could not take it by force. Dragon Spirit leaned on Yi Qinghan and fell asleep. Yi Qinghan, on the other hand, was cultivating diligently, comprehending the arcane rules and origin. After recovering all his divine power, he took out the secret history of chaos and learned about the top 10 battle constitutions. The Atlas was the only other battle constitution besides the ethereal constitution, so he must find its fatal flaw. The Atlas had an unparalleled physical body. It could hold up the sky and subdue demons. It was highly compatible with the great path of heaven and earth, so there was almost no need to cultivate. When it reached adulthood, it could inherit all the secret skills of the first generation of the Atlas as well as the Chaos Force. There was a fundamental difference between the powers used by the people of this era and the powers used by the people of this era. They used Chaos Void power, which was clearly a level higher than divine power. Currently, all Qing Tian possessed was still a relatively low-level divine power. Once he became a half-step lord, it was very likely that it would evolve into Chaos Void power. By then, apart from lords, no one would be able to compete with him for glory. Ranked 9th was the Sun-Moon battle body. Once this battle body was used, the sun and moon would appear at the same time, and the world would submit to him. He could mobilize the sun, moon, mountains, and rivers, and borrow the power of the world to destroy his enemies. He could almost fight against the son of a paramount god and remain undefeated. This person was still part of the great demonic god's bloodline. The son of the Chaos Dragon was not like the Pai Xiu, but a real dragon. The Pai Xiu was just the son of the dragon. There was still a gap between them. Ranked 8th was the Celestial Treasure battle body, which was divided into 3 stages. The first was the primary stage, where the user could turn ordinary objects into treasures. For a genius like him, there was no need to worry about resources at all. He could raise a huge army by himself. The second stage was the intermediate stage, where the divine treasures in the world could not escape his control. All divine objects with spirituality would automatically attach themselves to him. When it came to the third stage, it was terrifying. He could directly control the qi and blood in the enemy's body, as well as all kinds of magic treasures and divine objects inside them. If the opponent couldn't even control their own godhead, how could they fight? This kind of existence was only ranked 8th, which showed how terrifying the top 7 battle bodies were. This celestial treasure battle body did not belong to the two camps. He did not need to rely on anyone. Both camps were fighting for him, but he did not need to beg anyone. He did not care about the two camps at all. He rarely participated in battles, which led to his ranking being very low. Yi Qinghan looked at this celestial treasure battle body and felt that this kind of person should not be ranked 8th. This was a cheat-like battle body, but the heavens were not jealous. This kind of person was the son of the heavens. How could his combat power be ranked 8th? It was not impossible for him to become a supreme god, because he did not lack treasures. His ability to prolong his life was probably even more terrifying than a supreme god. In addition, he did not participate in the battle back then. It was still unknown whether the first-generation celestial treasure battle body had died or not. Night fell. Dark clouds covered the sky as if a storm was coming. There was no light in the ink-like night sky. Yi Qinghan took the dragon spirit and began to move in the direction of the Gao Xian small plain. At the moment, every main city's gate in the Sisui plain was heavily guarded. Powerhouses were guarding them to prevent Yi Qinghan from escaping through the gate. The city gates were also tightly guarded. As soon as Yi Qinghan and the dragon spirit appeared, they would definitely be discovered. Yi Qinghan disappeared without a trace. The heroes could only wait for Yi Qinghan to deliver himself to them. The half-step lords guarded their own gate and pass. The independent cultivators wandered outside the pass, waiting for Yi Qinghan to appear. However, for a month, Yi Qinghan and the dragon spirit seemed to have disappeared. No one knew if they were dead or alive. Sky Pillar was furious. The threat he left behind back then was not empty talk. He really wanted to kill Yi Qinghan. Sky Pillar held a spear in his hand and wore golden armor. He appeared in the Upper Plains Divine Devil City and walked around. There were many half-step lords, but no one dared to provoke him. On a street, a white-haired old man dressed in shabby clothes had a broken bowl in front of him and a flag by his side. No one knew what era this flag was from. It was so shabby that the words on it could not be made out. However, if one looked closely, they could still make out the words on it. The Oracle. Let's go and have a look. I can divine the mysteries of heaven and earth and the 9 hells. It's unfathomable, but I can divine it. If it's not right, it's free. If it's right, I'll ask for a Lord Divine Core. The Oracle stroked his white beard, looking like a transcendent being. However, his clothes, which were almost smelly, were really unflattering. Moreover, the price of divination was a little too high. He actually asked for a Lord Divine Core. Many people knew about the Oracle and were already used to it. Old man, don't you think you're being too ruthless? There are only so many sovereign sparks in total. Apart from the innate 3,500 sovereign sparks, the remaining ones are the result of painstakingly cultivating for the sake of some monstrously talented geniuses. Even after all these years, there probably aren't even 100 of them. And yet you're asking for one? Is this the end of the world? A middle-aged man asked in disdain. Naturally, someone will take the bait when I divine. Don't spout nonsense if you don't understand. Is it too much for me to ask for a Lord Divine Core? The Oracle raised his brows and said disdainfully, Hee, if you have a customer, I'll kneel down and kowtow to you 3 times, the man mocked. Then watch carefully. I observed the sky last night and knew that an important guest would come today, so I'll send over a Lord Divine Core, the Oracle said calmly. At that moment, Sky Pillar came over with his spear and said coldly, Your divination is very accurate. I'm that important guest. As long as you help me divine a person's whereabouts, I'll give you a Lord Divine Core immediately. Swish. Sky Pillar waved his hand, and a sparkling, translucent godhood appeared, dazzling in the sunlight. This godhood was slightly larger than ordinary godhoods, and had different runes on it. Clearly, this was a Lord Divine Core. A Lord Divine Core that was rarely seen even in 10,000 years, and Sky Pillar was willing to use it in exchange for Yi Qinghan's whereabouts. Haha, the Sky Pillar battle body really is different. You're so generous. The Oracle laughed loudly, squinting at Sky Pillar as he stared at the Lord Divine Core. Only his name, Yi Qinghan. He has a woman by his side, Dragon Spirit. Tell me where they are, and I'll give you this godhood. I guarantee that no one will dare to take it from you, Sky Pillar said in a low voice. No birth date, no horoscope, and no clothes? The oracle frowned. Let's see what you're capable of. Aren't you known for being able to divine the mysteries of heaven and earth, as well as the 9 serenities underworld? Sky Pillar said coldly. The oracle coughed dryly, then looked up into the sky and muttered something. No one knew what he was saying. The profound mysteries of order revolved around him, and space-time runes were changing. Although the burly man recognized the oracle, he had never seen him perform divination. Today was the first time, and he couldn't help but be surprised. This old man really did have some skill. The oracle frowned, occasionally surprised. After a while, he said in a low voice, "It's not that I don't have skill, but that this person isn't part of the 5 elements. He stands outside of the laws, and even dragon spirits' whereabouts have been concealed. However, I've divined that they are in the Surishui plane." Sky Pillar didn't make things difficult for him. The oracle was able to divine Yi Qinghan's location in the Surishui plane with just his name. It seemed that he was quite capable, but what Sky Pillar needed was a specific location. Chapter 801. Sky Pillar looked at Master God Diviner and extended a finger, causing a drop of blood to appear in his palm. It was golden and emanated a powerful draconic aura. That's Yi Qinghan's blood. You should be able to calculate their exact location now, right? Sky Pillar asked coldly. When he had fought Yi Qinghan, both of them had bathed in a river of blood. It wasn't much for Sky Pillar to collect a drop of Yi Qinghan's blood. It was just ordinary blood, not blood essence. That's good. Fellow Taoist, take me to the Surishui plane. I'll be able to find Yi Qinghan's exact location in an hour. Master God Diviner stared at the godhood excitedly, convinced that he had to get his hands on it. Sky Pillar nodded and tossed the godhood to Master God Diviner. Don't disappoint me, or the consequences will be dire. Ha! Master God Diviner laughed heartily. How could I possibly dare to lie to the Sky Pillar battle body? Sky Pillar didn't say anything else and simply turned to leave. Master God Diviner looked at the burly man and grinned. Kid, remember to kowtow 3 times to me. Once I find Yi Qinghan and refine the godhood, I'll come and collect it. With that, Master God Diviner followed the Sky Pillar battle body into the Skyspan Realm River. At the same time, Yi Qinghan was leading the dragon spirit toward a minor plane, moving faster and faster to avoid crowds. He didn't even want to enter a small city. Suddenly, Yi Qinghan's heart began to race. It was as though something big was about to happen. At his level of cultivation, he had a certain premonition for danger. For him to have such a strong reaction meant that something dangerous was about to happen. Yi Qinghan's hair stood on end. He knew that something big was about to happen. Give me the Chaos Dragon's essence. Yi Qinghan extended his hand without hesitation. The dragon spirit was stunned. It looked at Yi Qinghan's cold eyes, and it didn't seem like he was joking. After a moment of hesitation, it forced out the Chaos Dragon's essence. A golden essence appeared in its palm, and it delivered it to Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan put away the Chaos Dragon's origin and said in a deep voice, I'll send you to the Netherworld plane. Without the Chaos Dragon's origin, no one will chase after you. You'll have to rely on yourself for the rest of your journey. After that, Yi Qinghan took out his teleportation token and tried to contact 9 Nether. However, 9 Nether's message talisman was still closed. He couldn't reach him at all. He could only settle for the next best thing, which was to contact Grand Monarch Shura. When Grand Monarch Shura learned that Yi Qinghan had a favor to ask of him, he went to 9 Serenities Palace in person. 9 Serenities didn't enter the Sisui realm in person. He sent Grand Monarch Shura there. As soon as he entered the Sisui realm, Grand Monarch Shura saw Yi Qinghan's anxious appearance and couldn't help but ask, Master is in seclusion and can't help you. He asked me to help you. What happened to you? It's not a big deal. Take care of her for me and bring her to the Netherworld plane. I'll pick her up later. Yi Qinghan said, then turned and rushed into the distance. He couldn't lose the Chaos Dragon's origin. Once 9 Serenities learned that Yi Qinghan had the Chaos Dragon's origin, he might even fight for it. At this time, he could only rely on himself. He couldn't trust anyone. As soon as Yi Qinghan fled, Sky Pillar appeared in the Sisui realm with Master Godly Mathematician. Master Godly Mathematician arranged the 8 trigrams and mobilized the profound mysteries. The spatial fluctuations became more and more obvious. Yi Qinghan's drop of blood began to erupt, affecting the aura of Yi Qinghan's main body hundreds of millions of miles away. The trajectory became clearer and clearer. Yi Qinghan could sense that someone was using his blood to track him. Unless he underwent blood transfusion rebirth, he couldn't escape the other party's tracking. Now, he could only speed up and run as far as possible to escape the other party's detection. After an incense stick's worth of time, Master Godly Mathematician withdrew his aura and said in a deep voice, "The dragon spirit is dead, but the Chaos Dragon's origin is still with Yi Qinghan." However, Yi Qinghan has already approached the edge of the Sisui realm and rushed towards the border river. The dragon spirit is dead? Sky Pillar frowned. He wasn't worried that the Chaos Dragon's origin was with the dragon spirit. How much combat strength could a woman exert? However, with Yi Qinghan, there was no limit. The dragon spirit was indeed dead. Her soul had been taken away by Grand Monarch Shura to the Netherworld realm. The Chaos Dragon's origin had disappeared, so the experts wouldn't be interested in her. Their main target was Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan approached the Gaoxian realm. He took out a flow boat and forcibly crossed the border river, entering a small realm. Sky Pillar opened a realm gate and chased him to the Gaoxian realm. Master Godly Mathematician was also at his side. No matter how hard Yi Qinghan fled, he couldn't escape Sky Pillar's control. "Find the specific location," Sky Pillar said coldly. Sky Pillar appeared in the sky above the Gaoxian realm like a god. He released his divine sense and controlled the entire realm. As long as Yi Qinghan appeared, there was no way he could escape. Master Godly Mathematician divined again, but this time, no matter how Yi Qinghan's drop of blood erupted, he couldn't sense the location of Yi Qinghan's main body. He couldn't help but be shocked. This had never happened before. How can this be? Who exactly is this person? Master Godly Mathematician was aghast. There were no more than 21 people who could break free from the Primal Chaos Divine Arts tracking. They were the paramount gods of the Primal Chaos era. Unless Yi Qinghan was the reincarnation of one of those 21 paramount gods. Interesting. He can evade my divine sense and hide from Master Godly Mathematician's divine art. Sky Pillar sneered and appeared in the palace of the Gaoxian realm's master. He looked at the master of the realm and said coldly, "Do you need me to introduce myself?" "Greetings, esteemed lord. I didn't know you were coming and didn't welcome you. Please forgive me." When the master of the realm saw Sky Pillar's aura, he knew that he was an irresistible existence. Although he didn't know how to address him, he didn't dare to offend him. "This seat is Sky Pillar. I'm here to capture a criminal. This person is a high-level high deity. His name is Yi Qinghan." Sky Pillar waved his hand and revealed Yi Qinghan's appearance. He then said, "Seal off the Gaoxian realm and search every house. Don't miss a single corner of the realm. If you see this person, report back to me immediately. I will reward you handsomely." The Gaoxian realm was immediately mobilized. The army was mobilized and began a carpet search. They spread from the city to the mountains and villages. The master of the realm had personally given the order. Even the villagers and hunters began to join the search. Yi Qinghan was currently sitting cross-legged in the depths of a mountain. He was refining the Chaos Dragon's quintessence. The blood in his body was stagnant, and there were no energy fluctuations at all. Thus, Master Godly Mathematician's divine art was ineffective. He couldn't find any trace of Yi Qinghan. The Chaos Dragon's quintessence used the dragon's quintessence as the foundation and began to refine the true Chaos Dragon's quintessence. Its restrained aura was gradually spreading. The start-whining vine took root beside Yi Qinghan, and its lush green vines covered the sky and the sun. It covered the entire valley and concealed the dragon's aura. The dragon's quintessence was changing. Yi Qinghan didn't need to waste any time. He allowed the Chaos Dragon's quintessence to refine the quintessence. The patterns and internal space were all changing. The Chaos Dragon's quintessence began to derive the Chaos Dragon's secret technique. Dragon Nirvana. Chapter 802. The secret technique used by the Chaos Colossal Dragon was the Colossal Dragon's Nirvana technique. What was Nirvana? It was rebirth from the brink of death, transcending life and death, and reaching the highest realm, becoming immortal and indestructible. The Nirvana of the Colossal Dragon had a total of 6 realms. Back then, the Chaos Colossal Dragon had only cultivated to the 5th realm. Even until his death, he had not cultivated to the realm of immortality. The first stage was the giant dragon swallowing the sun and the moon. The second stage was the giant dragon splitting heaven and earth. The third stage was the giant dragon reversing yin and yang. The fourth stage was the giant dragon transforming life and death. The fifth stage was the giant dragon Nirvana. The sixth stage was the legendary giant dragon Immortality. Boom boom boom, that Yi Qinghan's blood essence began to flow slowly. No matter how hard he tried to suppress it, he could not suppress the Chaos Dragon's origin. Draconic blood roiled, completely transforming into Chaos Dragon essence blood. Its entire body was crimson yellow, and draconic scales covered the surface of its skin, forming the most terrifying defense. Even a sovereign weapon might not necessarily be able to break through it. Countless supreme-grade god crystals were taken out. Yi Qinghan was not in a hurry to break through to the next realm. Instead, he started the most basic refinement of his physical body and opened up the space within his godhead. At first, Master God Diviner had been so angry that he had been humiliated that he couldn't find Yi Qinghan even after dozens of divinations. Now that he had given up, Yi Qinghan's blood began to flow again. Otherwise, he would have tried again to find Yi Qinghan. The master of the plane mobilized the power of the entire plane. A sea of people covered the sky and covered the earth, all in hopes of finding Yi Qinghan. After all, Ni Yunduan was the current boss of the Sisui plane. He soon learned that Sky High had brought a clairvoyant into the High Fresh plane. Reverse Bone Sword and Lai Yun worked together to sneak into the High Fresh plane. They didn't look for him in a high-profile manner. Instead, they hid in the dark and waited for the right time to compete with Sky High for the Chaos Dragon's origin. Reversing Bone Sword and Lai Yun arrived at a small inn and sat by the window in a private room. Once Yi Qinghan shows up, the Reversing Bone Sword said, "You keep Heaven Pillar busy while I kill Yi Qinghan. Once I get his essence, I'll come back and kill Master God Diviner. He can't be left alive. Once I kill him, Heaven Pillar will leave, and I'll be free to fly." "Boss, are we going to separate after this?" Lai Yun asked in a low voice. "When the time comes, both factions will come looking for me. Therefore, the less you know, the better. After you succeed, immediately go into seclusion and hide in the mountains for 10,000 years. After 10,000 years, I will help you obtain the 2 most powerful essences, and even help you obtain the paramount godhood. The 3 of you as brothers will not betray you even to the point of death." Reversing Bone Sword said resolutely, "Boss, I wish you success." Lai Yun nodded. Deep in the mountains, Yi Qinghan's dragon godhead was finally completed after a day and a night. His hair was now golden, and his dragon scales had transformed into a suit of armor. The wind was biting cold, and dark clouds covered the sky above. A bolt of lightning descended from the sky and blasted into the mountains. The mountain exploded and split into pieces. Then, countless bolts of lightning descended at the same time, shocking the plain. Yi Qinghan was bathed in lightning. He clenched his fist and didn't dodge, allowing the lightning to cleanse his body. The 12 godhoods spun in his sea of consciousness, and the myriad laws of heaven and earth transformed into primal chaos energy that filled the godhoods. With the primal chaos dragon godhood, there was no energy that Yi Qinghan couldn't absorb. All energy came from the primal chaos. With the primal chaos dragon essence, his energy was inexhaustible. At this moment, Yi Qinghan's constitution was dozens of times stronger than Atlas's. If the 10 great physiques were glorious, then the primal chaos dragon essence was the legendary supreme constitution. Once the primal chaos dragon appeared, apart from a paramount god, who could contend against it? The primal chaos dragon essence in the dragon spirit could barely bring out 10,000th of its power. But in Yi Qinghan's body, it could cause the heavens to collapse and the earth to rend. Atlas frowned. He stomped on the ground and soared into the sky. His spear tore through the shackles and charged toward the mountain where Yi Qinghan was. The reverse bone sword's figure flashed and was 30% faster than Atlas. Lai Yun rose into the sky and charged toward Atlas. Boom! There was a deafening roar of thunder. Countless bolts of lightning tore through the darkness. Thousands of bolts of lightning struck at the same time, drowning the mountain range. Countless mountains were razed to the ground. Smoke rose and fire spread. Get lost! Atlas roared. His battle spear charged toward Lai Yun with a power that could destroy the heavens and the earth. It was unstoppable as it pressed toward Lai Yun. Boom! Lai Yun was extremely powerful. His sword pierced through the clouds, shattering Atlas's aura as they clashed. Their silhouettes flashed and crossed thousands of miles in an instant. It was difficult to tell who had the upper hand. It had to be said that Atlas was too powerful. As an advanced stage supreme god, he was able to fight a half-step lord. Moreover, he was the second in command of the reverse bone sword. Yet he still had the upper hand. Apart from the combat constitution, who else could do this? The reverse bone sword held a sharp sword and quietly appeared outside the lightning. His eyes were like lightning, tearing through the shackles. He stared at Yi Qinghan in the depths. Yi Qinghan stretched out his 10 fingers and clenched his fists. He was baptized by the lightning. He could not help but sneer and think to himself, "Thank you for doing all this for me. As long as I seize the godhead and refine its origin, I can save a lot of time." Whoosh! The reverse bone sword was unsheathed. The sword aura pierced through the realm and charged toward Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan opened his eyes and swung his sword. His aura swept thousands of miles and lifted the shackles of the Great Path. Boom! With a sweep of the sword, nothing could stop it. Buzz! Buzz! An ear-piercing sound traveled thousands of miles. The Gao Xian realm fell into despair as if the end of the world had arrived. Yi Qinghan's 12 godheads poured out at the same time, instantly erupting with the might of a half-step lord. The sword gleam cut through the dimension and illuminated the mountains and rivers. It collided directly with the divine sword. Boom! Yi Qinghan's aura was irresistible. It sent the reverse bone sword flying. The collision of the two powerhouses' auras soared into the galaxy, flattening everything within thousands of miles. The reverse bone sword was dizzy from the impact. The web between his thumb and forefinger split open, and blood stained the blue sky. Impossible! The reverse bone sword was shocked. He was sent flying backward in the void and flipped continuously. He only managed to stabilize himself after flying thousands of miles. He looked at Yi Qinghan in horror. With the whistle of a sword, Yi Qinghan stepped forward with his sword held horizontally. His long golden hair fluttered, and his sword shone for thousands of miles. His aura soared into the clouds, stirring up a tragic melody. "Nothing is impossible. I've been chased by you for so long. It's my turn now." Yi Qinghan's eyes were like lightning, piercing through the void. He raised his long sword and moved as fast as lightning. Tens of thousands of figures charged at the reverse bone sword from all directions. Bush, 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 bush. When one's speed reached its peak, the enemy could not resist. The void shattered, and countless sword gleams were physical attacks. The reverse bone sword did not know which attack was Yi Qinghan's main bodies. He could only unleash all his strength and shatter all the sword gleams at all costs. In that instant, 30% of his combat strength had been consumed. Bang! Yi Qinghan's main body attacked from above. His sword energy cut through the dimension and slammed into the reverse bone sword, smashing him into the ground. A huge crater appeared in the ground. A shrill scream alerted Qing Tian and Lai Yun in the distance. The two gave up on fighting and turned to look at Yi Qinghan. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.